Hello, and welcome back to DragonPoetSociety. Thank you for joining us here. My name's Nicholas, your resident DM, and we are going to be having Kat here in her corporeal form, as she likes to say. Unfortunately, Nate is traveling and having a good time on vacation. Curse him! So we will have to carry on playing the cackler for him. We'll see how well I do. When last we left off, the Beewildered enjoyed the festivities of the mid-year's turning while gaining as much information and leads as they could before heading on their journey south to the border city of Flywatch, also known as Landerhall. After making some purchases and saying their goodbyes, the group paid their gate fee and notes the sprawling group of refugees outside of Solney who couldn't afford entry. Putting the city at their backs, they head along the well-worn roads that occupy the Shining Valley area near the city of Solney and enjoy a well-patrolled safety thanks to the Mirror Blades, who are now out in force. Coming to a rather familiar crossroads, Slate notices something quite odd on the signpost. An additional sign with its name smudged that points to the southwest between Bright Meadow and Shimmerleaf that the remaining members of the party could not see. Looking closely, he also saw a pristine road leading in that direction, free of all tamp and travel. Eventually, he was able to convince the party that the grass they were seeing is indeed a road, and that eventually they began to hear the stones as they stepped on its paved way, even though to them it looked like grass. Slate led the way along this winding journey, unsure of quite how far they were going. The group followed the road, and it led them to a rather strange sight, which we see here on the table. A small grove of rotted stumps and a single, exceptionally large tree bereft of leaves, with 6 heads hanging from its branches, 3 of which seem to be skeletal, and 3 of which seem to be of varying other type, and in less decomposed condition. There's also sort of a shining and ancient war helm of a bygone era at its top branches, and a sort of shale and rusted weapons at its roots. They were also noticing sort of a shadowy, rust-colored ground that was spreading from the area, similar to what they had discovered in Bright Meadow. And the group sort of stopped to investigate to see what was going on. Slate yet again sees something the rest of the group does not, which was that beyond this grove there is what seems to be foliage and overgrown spaces with trees that do have leaves and tangled old stone walls and an iron fence just on the other side of the rotted grove. As Renastus crept forward to investigate, the tree suddenly came alive, uprooting itself and swatting at the alchemist with a massive branch. As this occurs, 3 of the tree's non-skeletal heads animated, the first appearing to be what seemed like a humanoid head, the next a somewhat humanoid head, but pure green, full of shifting dreadlocks, and the third a blackish purple with a line of 3 protuberant eyes. We now return to the party, as they must face whatever this threatening strangeness is that they have uncovered. I just want to make sure all our things are good. It looks like we're all on camera here. I'm going to just... There we go. And go ahead and get going. So we had already had the initiative rolls going. I'm going to pop us into combat music instead of spoopy music.
Spooky combat. It's true.
Alright, so let me place the other members of this combat, who are actually going to be first here. The writhing dreadlocks looks like the heads, actually as you look closer, appears to be snakes moving and twisting around as it flies on its own. We also have this purple one is going to represent the 3 protuberant eye, unusual kind of otherworldly head, and then this white Intellect Devourer model is going to be the normal humanoid head. So we got those 3 flying around and moving around. They're flying in the air on their own volition, and it is they who get to act first. So they are going to move over. This one's going to fly down from the tree's branches and hover right by Slate and go ahead and give him a bite. These other 2 are going to head over to Renastus and do the same thing there. Alright, so Medusoid head against Slate. That is going to be a 16 to hit. Does not hit. Alright, you're able to bring your shield up in time. As you pull your shield away, you notice that where the fangs struck, a little of the shield seems to have calcified.
great.
As for the other two who are there flying next to Renostus and circling him, the humanoid one sort of dripping like a shadowy drool from its mouth is going to give you a bite.
I want it.
That is a 17 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, so what you're going to do... that is going to be 5 points of piercing damage and 8 points of necrotic damage. So as you feel the human teeth sink into your skin, you just feel like this shattering crack of your bones, feeling like they're like decalcifying. Your skin is like boiling and shivering and shifting unpleasantly. It's a good time all around. The third creature, this like triple-eyed monstrosity, is going to also make an attack.
Oh no.
That's a 21 to hit. All right, you need to go ahead and make an intelligence saving throw, please.
I can do that. I can do it. Big brain.
Think big brain thoughts.
Big brain thoughts.
Yeah, 16.
Got 16. Okay, then hold on. Saving throw. That is plus 6. 22.
22, that is definitely a pass. So for a second, you feel like it's shifting your ability to determine reality, but you're able to like push through that and shake yourself out of it. However, you do still take a 4 piercing damage and 7 necrotic damage.
Oh no!
So between the swatting and the immediate swarming of the heads, Renostus goes down. All right, with that, the tree is up next, and it is going to...
The tree? Oh boy.
I rolled 2 nat 20s for initiative between the two groups of enemies, so it is going to get within range, 10 feet of Slate there, and going to give him a big ol' whack with his with the tree branch.
Mollywop.
That's going to be a 23 to hit. Yeah. Okay. Who would have thought? Okay.
Barely.
That's going to be 12 points of bludgeoning damage as it crushes down.
Because I might as well. I'll use stones and arrows.
Okay. So not only is your shield calcifying and stonifying, so is your skin. But not for a bad reason this
Maybe
time.
as a maybe for positive.
Yeah.
So that actually blocks 14 points of damage, so...
Alright, so no damage taken. Alrighty, so that's it for their turns. Anetka, you're up first to act as the party. Slate, you're on deck.
Okay. Are
With Flow to
the
follow.
2 heads that are on Renostus, are they within 5 feet of each other?
They are not. They're each... they'd be adjacent if they were. So they're about 10 feet apart, and they're floating 5 feet above where Renostus would have been when he was standing. So they're probably about 10 feet, 11 feet in the air.
5 feet from the tree.
Also, no.
Okay.
The main body of the tree is pretty much where it is, and the roots are extending on, giving it reach.
Okay. Like doing some math, looking at her healer's tip, looking at her spell focus, and magic missile on all 3 of the heads.
Okay, go ahead and roll. Automatic hits.
Let's just go. So,
Medusa head first.
when you said first, that'll be 4, but so it's been a second since I've cast magic missile. 5 points of force damage.
Nice. Max rolling.
Then this guy,
Yep. That's the sort of triple-eyed head.
5 points force damage again.
Hey, great rolling. Great start.
No, that's 2 points of force damage. The other one.
All right, so... And then... as it strikes the 3 different targets. Yeah, definitely seems to have struck them and hurt them a fair bit. They still look like they've got plenty of icky fight in them. All right, anything else for Anetka as far as movement goes or anything like that?
No, I like where I am.
Sounds good. Yeah, Slate, you're up. Flow on deck. Cackler to follow.
I will... My bonus action, I hit my brand.
Okay, so as you tap into that energy, you feel it sort of overlay you a little bit, and all of your tattoos alight on your skin. You guys seeing it as like a luminous silvery white. What are you doing?
Cool. I'm gonna be slapping.
All right, give him a slap. I love the idea of you activating these like spiritual tattoos, and you're just like.
Or that it was actually your mode of combat is you just slap people.
Look, if you want to let me roll a d6 for slapping, I'll do it.
No, you're not a monk, boy.
Okay. But there's a Medusa head right near me.
There sure darn is.
That's really bad.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna hit it.
Okay, go for it. Attack roll.
Multi-slapping.
I feel like Tavern Brawler gives you like a lot of oomph to your unarmed.
23 to hit.
That hits, my friend. Go ahead and roll damage.
whopping 7 points of damage.
7 points of damage. All right, between that and the high magic missile damage, it looks like it's hurt, and that you sort of as some of the snakes as you crush through them with your axe. Anything else? You bonus action in action. Did you want to move?
No, I don't really want the council points.
Okay. 10-4. 14. All right, Flo, you're up. Cackler on deck.
Okay.
Tennille to follow.
Going to
Okay. Yep.
And I'm going to cast Create or Destroy Water through my short sword.
Okay. What area are you doing it in?
I
believe it's a 30-foot cube?
Yeah, so I guess from like...
How much
Just
how much can
behind
you
me
do?
to, like-
How much space can you do?
$35-foot cube
35-foot cube. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big cube that you
rain.
can create. Of rain. Okay.
Yeah, so like if I rain it down, then does it cover 35-foot cube of ground?
Yeah, it's not 35 foot on its side, but or I don't know. Yeah.
Or
It's a
create
It's a
destroy
cube, so it's a
20
big space,
gallons.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or create what? Sorry.
Create or destroy 20 gallons of water.
Yeah. So do you want the rain or the gallons?
I mean, I'm assuming it would have the same effect. It's just I might be able to spread it more with the rain.
If you wanted to stand in it, it'd be easier to do the gallons
Okay.
versus the rain, which might get absorbed by the ground in different locations and kind of dispersed over a wider area.
So it's just
So the rain would be better suited to like put out a wide range of fires, whereas this is like
I know.
if you want to create a concentrated puddle to stand in, then you're probably wanting the
How big do you allow that puddle? Because I'm actually...
how much is it? 20 gallons?
20 gallons.
It can be a thin puddle that covers a decent area. Where do you want it to be? What's your intention? Okay, yeah, you can do it somewhere like 20 gallons of water. I'm trying to think. That's like 4 Home Depot buckets worth of water. So you create like a thin puddle of space like right around there.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
I guess I'd want to be standing in that space. I just didn't...
Did you want to move to that space?
Yeah.
Okay. So you move over there. You brandish the sword and you focus and feel the pool of the ocean within, and like a salt geyser, it just like gouts forward, and you're just like splashing into the puddle.
Fantastic.
Showing her like kids' little rubber boots.
All right. Yeah. All right. So that's your action.
Yeah.
Anything for bonus action?
I can't really do anything. 'Cause
Okay.
I didn't attack, so... I
Alrighty.
don't really want to go anywhere, so...
Sounds good. All right. Cackler's turn. Seeing the big tree, I feel confident in saying that Nate would probably want Cackler to have his flamethrower out. So he's going to move into position, and then he's going to put up the thing. I think he can do it at a distance. He's going to have that move in and try and flamethrow both the Medusa head and the tree.
Yeah.
So that is going to be his action to summon it and bonus action to order it to cast. It is a Dex save, or just check how much damage it does. I think it's 2d8. 2d8. Yep. Okay.
It's actually 200 d8.
So start rolling.
Not even just 20. There was like the 2 missed zeros. We got 2 orders of magnitude we're upgrading by. All right. So the Medusa.
Powerful. What can I say?
Yeah. Underrated class. All right. Medusa head. That's gonna be a fail with a 9.
Ooh.
And the tree, is the tree more dexterous? It is with a 16, so that's a pass.
It's a very spry tree.
That's a very spry tree. All right, so 2d8. Where are my d8s? Here we go. All right, so that's going to be a total of 9 fire damage, which is going to be enough to put down the Medusa head.
Yes, nice.
As the snakes
Yeah.
splatter to acid, splatter into ash, not acid. Amazingly, the tree passes, and its roots are just like and bolt up, and it takes only half damage, which would be 4.
You just have to assume that someone's come at it with a flamethrower before.
Yeah,
It's seen
it knows what to do. Guys, I've known this before.
Not again.
Not again. All right, so that's it for Cackler's turn. Tennille, you're up with Gnostus on deck.
Cool. Healing word on Grandpa. That's going to be a 7 health back to Renastus.
All right.
I'm within 30 feet of everybody, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Alright, Channel Divinity.
Alrighty, so the shadows bloom and expand, but rather than the rusty darkness that's around you in the soil, it's more like imbued with a hue of ribbons of silvery light.
Roll well. 8 temporary hit points to everybody, and then I'm gonna use my vocal action to yell, "Run away, Grandpa!" I'm gonna move back just a smidge.
Taking your own advice, I like it. All right.
I had some bad experiences recently.
Tough combats, man. Close calls. Okay. Well, Renostus, after being regained in consciousness, you're prone on the floor with two heads like gnashing and floating above, but their attention doesn't seem to be immediately on you. What would you like to do?
I would like to run away. I can't remember how disengage works. Can I?
You can do it as an action.
I will do that as an action.
Okay. Would you like to stay prone and crawl half your movement, or would you do half your movement? It doesn't matter that much.
I'll crawl away.
You crawl away.
Crawling through a puddle.
Crawling through a puddle of salt water.
She's unhappy.
You would get a puddle of salt water.
We'll put him face up, so at least it makes it seem like he's
Not drowning.
not drowning in the water.
Yeah, you can drown it into water.
All right, so you crawl and disengage successfully, so you don't have to worry about them making attacks of opportunity. Actually, point of order, I'll let you do this retroactively. Because you crawled, they were actually out of 5 feet because they're floating in the air above your head when you fell. So they actually weren't within 5 feet of you once you regained consciousness and crawled away. So you still have your action if you don't want to use it to disengage, because you don't need to disengage when they're not within 5 feet of you.
Well, it doesn't say that it's an action, but I'll go ahead and unpin my little bee brooch from my chest. I assume that's an action to activate it.
Probably,
It doesn't say, but
yeah.
I assume. And I will do that. And for a bonus action, I will tell it to use Shocking Blast
Oh, hey, good idea.
on, I'll get the white one.
Okay, so let's get your model on board. Come on.
Oh!
Our stand-in for a bee is a manta ray or stingray. All right, so it can administer touch spells. So you like do it, and this humble bumble flies over to the space, and it can administer touch spells for you.
Yep.
So go ahead and make your melee spell attack against the head. You're doing the white one, which is the humanoid one.
That's correct.
Go for it.
Okay, let's see. That is, I think that will be a 17 to hit. Sorry, I'm a little bit.
No worries.
More than that. It'll be a 21 to hit.
20 hit definitely hits. Go and roll damage. So it's like a electric stinging bee.
Alright. Who get him, little bee? That is 6
6 points of lightning damage, and I believe it also prevents them from taking
reactions.
reactions. Very nice.
Yep.
So you could definitely make sure that you can get away without being attack of opportunity. So, alrighty. That's it for Renossus' turn. So top of the round, it is the head's turn. Medusa heads down. Okay, so the aberrant head is going to fly over and fly up to Flo and attack in. Again, it's floating in the air. And is going to make an attack against you. And this one is going to fly over to Slate and make an attack against you. Alright, so attack against Flo, the aberrant head, is going to go. And all over my board. Okay. That might not hit with a 14. Nope. Alright, so you duck out of the way as it bites, and its like eyes are like blinking weirdly with like little puffs of light as they blink. All right, the humanoid head is going to take a big chunk out of Slate, or perhaps not. With a 13, it just takes a big chunk of armor and breaks a couple teeth that go flying off. As it unfortunate for him, gonna need some dental work. The undead dentists are in high demand these days. All right.
That tree's moving.
I like it.
As it's shuffling forward with its root kind of stutter shuffle, it's going to go ahead and try and whap Slate in the face with the branch. Natural 20.
Oh! And do be blapping.
You got temporary hit points though.
I did.
Past tense.
That's going to be 28 bludgeoning damage.
Holy, so there's 20 bludgeoning damage.
So,
I'm still about half.
gets him straight in the face, straight in the noggin. But the reassuring silvery lightness, darkness provided by Tennille helps shield some of the worst of it. All right, so that's it for their turns. Anetka, you're up with Slate on deck.
kind of look at the tree. She'll kind of rub her fingerless gloves together. Electricity shoots out. Witch bolt.
All right, go and make your attack roll. Very nice.
I want this to work. I'm going to use my inspiration.
All right, go for it.
Oh, that is better. That is a 23.
That hits. Roll damage.
Okay.
Very nice. D12.
12. That'll be 8 points of damage, and she'll look at the cackler. That's how you start a forest fire.
Very nice.
And she'll actually scooch up just so the tree hopefully.
He just turns back and he's like, forest fire.
I think that's a phrase.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to use that one, particularly in the British accent. All right, and it's sort of crackling with that extra electric energy for you to find the easier purchase on future attempts. All right, so that's it for Netka. Slate, you're up with Flow on deck.
There's a new head in my neighborhood.
There is. That classic Lumorian phrase. There's a new head in my neighborhood. Get it.
Yeah, probably with 24.
24 does hit. Go and roll damage. And oftentimes more than 11. But you guys don't know Not that you guys know the number.
Yeah, that'd be 11.
Oh, very nice. That is enough to bring it down, actually.
Nice.
So you just cleave it straight in half, and with a wet splash, it falls in pieces.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Wet splat.
Yeah. All right. So leaving only one head plus the tree remaining. So that's it for Slate's turn. Flo, you're up. Cackler's on deck. Tennille to follow.
I'm gonna swipe at the head closest to me.
Okay. Attack roll. Don't forget to add your bonuses.
Yep. 18.
18 does hit.
Okay.
Roll damage.
And I have a friend within 5 feet of the target.
He actually isn't. Again, for the same reason that he wasn't before.
He range of me? I have range.
Has to be within 5 feet.
No.
So not within 5 feet of Renostus because he's crawling on the floor and this thing is flying like up above your head.
So does it?
But you're one-on-one, so you get the you're one-on-one, so you get the swashbuckler bonus.
Okay.
Oh, swashbucklers almost always getting their sneak attacks. I think there's only like one rare corner case where they don't get it.
Sarah just plays things. So she's all her classes just roll mini dice.
She likes the damage.
12 points.
12 points. That is just enough. That's exactly what you needed. So you just sort of like straight in the middle eye, and it just and you sort of like kick it off the handle of your blade there. That is down. So we just got the tree. Wow, you guys wrecked those hands. Or those
Can
hands.
I
Heads.
Swipe at the tree.
Your hair, man.
It's not within the. It's not within 5 feet of you. The tree has reach. It's attacking from 10 feet away.
I see. I'm gonna move back here.
Okay, out of the water.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I mean, although, yeah, I'm just gonna do that. We'll do that.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, Cackler's turn. He's just going to move the thing a little bit to make sure it's in range and have it do its breath attack. So dexterity saving throw. That's more like a tree's roll. So it is going to do full damage there. Ooh, good thing. That's 12 points of fire damage to the tree. Unusually, and perhaps it's because it's sort of this darker, almost infused with shadow tree, it does not seem to be particularly harmed by the fire and is not set aflame. Not particularly harmed in that it's still full damage, but not extra bonus vulnerable damage. But that doesn't seem to deter the fire-loving cackler, and he's like, start a forest fire, and shoots firebolts. That's going to be a hit with a natural 14 plus his bonuses, which is enough. It is D10. 8 points of fire damage. Alright, so just out of his crossbow comes a flaming crashing bolt. Alright, Tennille, you're up with Renostus on deck.
Cool. I'm going to hold that on the tree.
Hold the dead. Wisdom saving throw. Okay.
How wise is this tree, Nicholas?
What's your DC?
14.
It got 4, so it's a fail.
Alright, it is going to take. That's better. 9 necrotic damage.
Alright, so in this case, it actually does seem to do much less than you might expect the effect to do, but it does seem to still emphasize the cracks that have been scorched marks that have been put into the tree. So half would be 4, All right.
Bonus action, spiritual weapon.
All right.
Attack. Maybe not. That is a 12 to hit.
12 just misses.
Oh! Okay.
So you strike it because it's hard to miss
It's a
like
tree.
the tree, but it doesn't quite find purchase amidst the shadowy, spongy bark.
Okay. And then I'm going to back up a smidge, and then and you all get another 8 temporary hit points if you need them.
In addition, or
It's instead of.
Instead of. Okay. So we take whatever is higher. If you had higher, you keep it.
Gotcha.
All right, top of the round. It's the tree's turn. Oh, sorry, Grandpa.
I am going to continue
To crawl. Oh my god.
to crawl a little bit.
Okay.
I was right here. Am I with? Does he get an attack of opportunity?
No, I would
Okay.
say he would not.
Okay, so I'm gonna crawl, and then I obviously did not use most of my movement for that. So if I can use the rest of it to stand up,
Sure, I'll allow it.
is that not how it's?
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
good.
And then I'd like to cast Fairy Fire in somewhere around here, so that it's only gonna hit the tree.
Okay, yeah, definitely. If you post it back there, what's the range on Fairy Fire for
It's
me?
20 if I remember.
That's the cube, but the point.
It should be.
I think it's pretty far if I
60
recall
feet,
correctly.
60 feet.
Yeah, so one of these boards is 60 feet, so you got plenty of
Okay,
distance to do
then I'll go
that. So
ahead
you
and
do
do
that.
that.
What color is your Fairy Fire? And how do you cast it?
I will. I haven't actually thought about it too much. I'd probably do the Renosis Classic and have it as a type of potion that he'll clip into his staff and then just chuck it or point it in the direction of the tree. And
Okay.
let's say that blue juice exits the potion and spills in the tree and begins to outline.
It's straight up water.
Like, yeah, no, it's blue juice.
All right, so a bluish light is illuminating the tree. So we'll go ahead and put a magical effect token.
And
I'll just.
as my bonus action, I'll
these here.
have my little bee-bud doing zap zaps.
All right, zap zaps. Attack roll.
Okay, that is. Oh, it's weird to do. Okay, well, I did it there. 25.
25 definitely
Back
hits.
it up. I'm
Yeah,
used to
okay.
doing it on the computer. Oh, that will be 1.
All right, so it's the stinger. It gets there, but it's just sort of like
It's really intimidating for a little bee to attack a
a
tree.
tree. Yeah. All right, maybe it's its reluctance because it knows it would rather form a hive. You know. All right, now it's the tree's turn, and it's going to. Hey.
Don't like that.
I'm already there.
Get closer, and it's going to go ahead and use its entangling strangle on
And strangling.
on the slate there.
Please don't.
So let's see. Oh, sorry. You need to go ahead and make a strength saving throw, please.
That sounds like something you're good at.
I just immediately started rolling damage.
You would think, but
He's a big beefy boy.
He's gentle though. He's a gentle.
It's gentle soul.
yeah, you would have thought, but no, 9.
Real
9?
gentle.
All right. So you are restrained, and you take 12 points of bludgeoning damage. It is also going to go ahead and give the warmest of blaps to the cackler. Yeah, that does hit with a natural 16 plus some, so that is going to be 22 to hit.
Yeah, I think it just barely hits him.
For a 1, and a 2, so you're right, it only just barely hits him. So that is going to be 4 plus 4. That's going to just knock out his temporary hit points, and that's it.
He still has the additional 5 for me.
He was one of mine. When I cast
Oh,
Bane,
yes,
so
thank you.
His max is 5.
His max should be up by 5.
Yeah.
So
He is not here to.
keep track of that. Thank you for reminding me now.
Yeah.
All right. At this point, the 3 skulls that were on the head, that were on the tree, also begin to shiver and fly out forward. I'm just going to use the same 3 models because I don't have Vanical, but they're all the same type, which is the skull. So they will join the combat next round, but they're like floating around the heads, floating around the tree's limbs.
With meat bits or just skulls?
Just straight up skulls. These ones are far more deteriorated. Okay, that's it for trees' turns / heads' turns. So Anetka.
She'll kind of rub the fingerless gloves together again, sort of cause lightning to arc around almost all the branches of the tree, but miss Slate for continuing witch bolt.
That's convenient.
That's a 7.
7 points. Very nice.
I mean, I could hit Slate, but you know.
Appreciate
All right, yeah. The tree seems like it's starting to slow down a little bit in its motion with the laying into it with the damage. But yeah, as you refit in like a lightning. All right.
It's purple, just because she likes purple.
I mean, that's fair. Purple's nice. All right, Slate, you're up.
Okay.
Flo is on deck.
Hugs are nice, but no thank you. I'm going to try to escape.
Okay, go ahead and make a athletics or acrobatics check, your choice.
Excellent. That's something better.
You were good at strength saving this too.
I'm not proficient. That'll be 24.
Yeah, no problem. And you pull yourself free from the roots. So you're no longer restrained.
Unless I have no bonus actions.
Okay, no actions for you. All right, Flo, you're up. Cackler on deck.
You said they're up in the air.
Kneel to follow. Yes, they're up in the air. They're all about 20 feet coming off the lowest branches here. But they're in a ring like this.
Okay, I'm gonna run up to the tree and attack it.
Could you do me a favor? I forgot you're supposed to do a dex saving throw for fairy fire.
Oh, sure. A total of 1 after modifiers.
Then you have advantage.
Oh!
Yeah, so it's a glowing blue tree. You cannot miss it.
Ooh, nat 20!
You really can't miss it. All right, so you get to double your sneak attack dice too. So
Oh, God.
so roll your weapon dice and your sneak attack dice, double them all, and then add modifiers. So I think in your case it should be 3d6 doubled.
Okay.
So double. Oh, that's 2d6. Where's your third?
I don't have a third.
No, you
How
do.
you do?
Oh!
6 isn't a 5.
Yep.
My
So-
God.
So 2 6s and a 5 is how much? Yep, so 24.
Oh, 34. No.
24, you're right.
No, it's 34.
2 6s and a 5.
Six.
Oh, you're right. 34 points of damage. I can't math.
Plus a 3.
34
Oh,
plus.
34 plus. That's what my short sword.
Yep. 34 plus 5. 39 points of damage. All right. Describe your killing blow because, surprise, 39 points of damage is over half its health.
I'm gonna splash the salt water and the salt water like singe the tree while I like slash where it singed.
All right. So you whoosh, cut straight through and it crashes.
Not on the sleep.
Not on the slate.
Okay, good.
She pushed it while she was killing it.
She was, with that roll, she can push it any direction she wants. My cool tree model gone so quickly.
Max crit.
Max roll crit. There you go. Very nice. Alrighty.
Can I use my other swipe on the
You can. Bonus action with your scimitar.
You thought she was done?
Hit him with it.
This does not get an advantage,
No.
though, because this was not lit up with the lit light
Sympathy.
fit fight. That does hit.
Blue juice.
Blue juice!
Would it have been lit by the blue juice since it was on the tree when it got fairy fire?
She said it was, she cast it pretty
Towards
far
the
back, so that she wasn't hitting, because it would have then started to threaten, like, the people like you who were closest in the,
And I think
like,
that
slate.
would have gotten the bee for sure if it was going anywhere.
Yeah. Can't spray blue juice on the bee.
Can't.
I mean,
What was your, you hit, and what was your damage roll?
She can.
1.
1? You got 1 point of damage on that guy.
Making up for
You were
my
just like-
rolls before.
Alright, that's it for Flo. Very nice turn. Cackler's turn. He is going to, at this point, he is going to move to this side like this, and then move this over here beside Slate, and do its breath attack. Dex save for the head. That's a fail. 2d8. 1, 2. Whoa! Rolling well on that. 13 points of fire damage for that. So that head is looking very singed. That skull is still standing though. So he's going to go ahead and shoot a firebolt at it to double up. That does hit. It only has to get into an 11. So another d10 on top of that. Where's our dice here? D10. Another 5 points there. That's going to be enough to pick it off. So skull down. I'm just going to replace the Medusa head because these are more skull-like. Alright, so that's it for Cackler's turn. Picking off those heads. Tennille, you're up with Renostus on deck.
Okay, my spiritual weapon's going to kind of sink back into the ground, and then it's going to materialize up in the air next to this head.
Okay, Raiden teleporting spiritual weapon.
Yes, and attack it. Aww, it's a 10.
10 just misses. Sorry.
AC 11, let's go.
We'll try to hold the head on it, because that's all I got.
Okay.
Wisdom save.
This is the one that Flo hurt for 1 point of damage.
Oh, yeah.
12.
That fails.
All right.
It's going to take 4 points of necrotic damage.
Okay. Does get halved.
Yeah.
But it's sort of boom, and the skull just like boom.
I'm helping.
Yeah.
And then Slate, you get 9 temporary. Everyone gets 9 temporary hit points because it's better than what you had.
Specifically Slate.
Specifically Slate.
Only Slate.
I need it.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright.
I needed it.
And that's it for my turn.
All right. That's it for your turn. Renostus.
Okay. Grandpa.
Heads are next. I'm not on deck.
Probably not super effective. I'm going to cast Ray of Sickness on that skull usually.
Okay. The one that was hurt.
Yes.
Okay. Is it my save or your attack roll?
My attack roll.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
That will be 18 to hit.
That hits. Roll damage.
We're not rolling.
I believe it's 2d8.
1, that's 8, and 9.
9 points. Again, halved, as this also does not seem to do super effectiveness. So 9 half would be 4 running down. Okay, and then do I have to make some kind of save?
Constitution saving throw, thank you.
What's the fail condition?
Poisoned until the end of my next turn.
And the DC?
I know these things, I'm sorry. It's 14.
14. I got a 16.
Okay.
So that is a pass.
And bonus action, Buzz Boy to go. Sting.
Okay. Is he just doing his normal attack?
I'm gonna have him do Shocking Grasp. I don't think there's a
So-
reason why not, because it's a cantrip.
So to clarify, I don't think you can cast a spell as an action and bonus action Shocking Grasp. The way the administering the touch attacks works is you're using your action to cast the spell, and it's using its reaction to administer it.
I see. Okay.
So that would still take an action to cast the Shocking Grasp effect. I believe, check your picture that I sent you for the stats, I believe it has a ranged attack otherwise that it can do, that does force damage, which you can command it to do as a bonus action. So you can have it stay away if you want, or close the distance after it fires, whichever you prefer.
Stay just a bit away, and
Okay.
then I'll do the range attack. Let me grab that.
Go ahead and make your attack roll. I think it's your spell attack ability modifier to hit.
So that'll be 10.
Yes, misses, unfortunately.
Okay.
So like, I don't know, like Beedrill in Pokemon, it just like shoots its little stinger up, but unfortunately dodged by the head.
Well, actually, Nicholas doesn't have to shoot you.
Oh, actually. We got a real Pokemon master over here.
Damn right.
Alright, Tennille, sorry, Renostus just went, Tennille went before that, so it's the head's turn, so I get to do something with the bad guys. Alright, they're really not happy with Flo after down in the big head, big tree, so the two heads are gonna move over and each make an attack roll. One's gonna be a 12 and the other one's gonna be a 21.
21 hits.
Okay. That's going to be 3 points of piercing damage and 7 points of necrotic damage for a total of 10.
Good thing you had 9 points.
Yeah, seriously, that's just totally eating up all the damage that I'm doing. Okay, that's it for their turns. So Netka, you're up.
Okay.
Slate's on deck.
How high are the skulls?
Just above Flo. So Flo's height plus about 4 feet. So I'd put it just over 6 feet.
Just over 6. So Slate could reach them and whack.
No problem, yeah.
Okay, so I don't have to worry. You can do a whack. Well, Slate, how about you finish this? And she'll start casting, and it looks like he's wearing like a sweater that's really too big, like way too big, like, really absurdly, and then he enlarges to twice his.
Oh boy.
So he's just shy of 9 feet, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
So now he's 18 feet tall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And he is buff.
So what does that do for me?
That. Let me get to the full description because it's spell, but I believe it's add one. Since your weapons also grow in size, you do an extra 1d4 of damage, and you have advantage on strength checks and throws.
Okay.
All right.
So you can hit him real hard.
Alrighty. Your turn, bud. Unless you have anything else, Aneka.
Nah.
All right. Hit him real hard, buddy.
Amazing.
Okay. Do I hit him really, really hard, or do I like spike him like a volleyball?
How is that a question?
Damage or fun?
Go ahead. Attack.
Okay, I'm gonna try and.
Okay. Go ahead and attack with advantage.
Yes.
I'll give you advantage on that.
That will probably hit with a 17.
Yeah, that hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's a D4.
Yeah, an extra D4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a 4.
That is. So that's an unarmed strike, which would be 1 plus my strength plus a D4. Right?
Yep. That's accurate.
So that'd be 9 points of damage.
9 points. Yeah. So it goes, and as it like comes up, Flo, you just get like splattered with some like bone jaw and teeth and scattered skull pieces.
What the heck?
Down it goes. All right. I mean, it's less messy than it would have been if it was one of the ones that was not just a pure skull.
Putrid nonsense.
Yeah. All right. Putrid nonsense.
Nonsense is
Also a good group game. Group full of necromancers. Putrid nonsense.
I feel like that would have been a good name for a Christmas Strahd group.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Slate. That's it. Unless you have anything else you'd like to do.
Not particularly,
Just flex.
other than I would like to point out that slap is actually done from like 5 feet away.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah. That.
Yeah, no reason.
Yeah. That makes sense.
5 feet, like 5.
Oh, 5 feet away. You're just like.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. That's it for Slate. Flows up with Cackler on deck. To kneel to follow.
I'm gonna swipe at the other head.
I like to think that Flo actually says that when she does it.
Yeah,
That's her
She's
mantra.
singing to herself.
That's in character.
Yeah. Go and make your attack roll.
That is a 19.
19 hits, and because you have a friend within 5 feet.
Sneaky sneak.
That's right. I also feel like that's what she says.
And she's like trying to sneak up.
Swipey swipe. Sneaky sneak.
Paradigm of stealth.
Oh, man. Okay.
15.
15 points of damage? Yeah, okay. It's still standing, but you just... Its jawbone just goes... like boomeranging away as you just like hack it straight off.
Can I swipe at it again?
You absolutely can. Go for it.
That's a 21.
21 hits. Go and roll damage. D6. It is standing by the barest. You just like again, and then one tooth on the top jaw, just off it goes.
Can I like disengage?
You cannot because you took an action and a bonus action.
Because I made
You
a
can-
melee attack. Can I go out of it?
Oh, that's right! Another thing about the swashbuckler, you've disarmed him by disjawing him, so he can't really do much, so you just back away and, no problem. Yeah. Right, Cackler is up. He's going to just line him up and shoot him down. Maybe not, with a natural 3. He is going to, he's going to blowtorch one of the dead stumps rather than hit Slate. I feel like that's in character for Nate.
For Nate.
Not the
Not
cactus.
the cactus.
So cannon, the cannon that he's able to concoct and cobble together, kind of rolls forward on its little. I like to imagine them as oblong wheels. So it's like sort of shuffle bumping a little bit, and then it just sort of over the single little stump there, which begins to wither and crack and set alight.
Great.
All right, I feel like that's in character.
Oh, definitely.
All right, Tennille, you're up with Renonsis on deck.
Alright, let's try this one last time. It floats over. Roll better. Oh, that's a 19 plus 6, so that hits.
That was better. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's going to be 8 force damage.
That is enough.
Nice.
All right, and with the swippy swiping, slippy slicing scythe.
But what now?
What was that, Nicholas?
The scythe. It's been a day, y'all. It's been a day. Swippy swiped all day, all night, and down it goes for the end of the combat.
What does it do?
All day and all night.
With that, the team brings the combat to a close. Excellently done.
Yay.
I mean that almost max rolled critical hit from Flo.
Yeah.
Putting in the work.
Finally got the
got it.
natural
I know.
20.
39 points of damage. Woo! That was spicy. All right, so as it crashed to the ground there with the tree, you do see the sort of helm that was up top, the ornate war helm of the past age, sort of off to the one side where it fell. And you see as the tree like uprooted itself, some of the shale and what you realize are now bones and rusted gear at where its roots were initially get sort of upturned and scattered about. So that's what's happening. Also, one of the stumps is on fire. Because, of course, Kepler.
Starting forest fires.
Bingo.
I'm better at it.
He kind of just like gestures exaggeratedly toward the
One stump on fire.
the stump on fire with his flamethrower, and then he is going to further flamethrow some more of the ground. Because don't challenge a cackler to a forest fire contest, because he'll take it seriously.
Yes, but I lightning the tree when it actually did matter.
How you feeling, Grandpa?
Well, I would feel better if I wasn't all muddy. Flo, why did you have this water here?
I will come over and
Hey,
press
Sophie's lights.
And you can see her sword is like spraying little like brine and salt as she's like flourishing it.
Seeing you letting that blow, I guess it's worth it. And
I'll first investigate you, please.
After about a minute, the sweater sort of falls off of Slate, and he's back to his normal, very small self.
petite, if you will.
That's why they call me Tiny.
The fire is spreading.
Flo?
She's gonna look over and just like saunter over and then cast Create or Destroy Water in the cube of rain.
Okay, is she doing it from the sword? I thought she already used that.
No, I have it as me.
Oh yeah, it's part of the water genasi.
Remember she drowned those bees?
That's right. Yes, indeed. So you're able to, after a while, put out the fire, and Cackler just turns to you and says, "Boss says no."
While she's putting out forest fires, Netka would like to ritually cast Detect Magic, and she'll walk, and once it's done, she'll walk around the general area, especially over that war helm that fell.
Cool. Yeah, so while you're doing that, since that's a 10-minute ritual, what's everyone else doing?
Poke around the stuff that was near the roots.
Sure, make a investigation check.
Oh, well, don't do it on my thing. Okay, that's weird. I'm not gonna look at it because it's weird. Okay.
I would like to help.
Yeah, you can each roll separately, or you can just roll.
to help.
Okay, go ahead and roll with advantage.
Thank you. I needed that. That will be a 25.
25, that's nice.
You said investigation, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, 25.
Alright, let me pull up a little bit of a mixing matching of my things. What's going on here? What's going on?
Like,
I'm pretty sure. Which is why I'm investigating.
Fair enough. Here we go. Okay, so with a 25, yeah, you do a really thorough search, and you're pulling out, and you actually find under all the shale and what looks like, or actually a bunch of bones and stuff, you actually find some more recently deceased corpses, and you uncover what looks like a cracked Lorebright stone. Maybe indicating this was a fallen party who came to this location or situation and did not find it as easily as you guys did.
I'll kind of hold that up and gesture to the party.
Yeah. It's dim. It's not glowing with the gold and green light like your guys's does.
Tennille, do you have ours still?
I have ours.
Do you wanna touch?
Oh yeah,
It's in the thing.
I'll go around and like touch the tree and touch the putrid nonsense left over from the skulls. And
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and mark. You do indeed get one of the two separate gossamer threads, one from the tree and one from the heads. There's no redundancy for the heads. So... Right.
should we take the stone and maybe take it back to the Lumoria office at some point and let them know, or is that too?
Can almost see what happens when you touch your stone to their stone. Just
Is it like crossing the streams or something?
I don't know.
Now kiss.
Alright, one of those kind of nights. Good thing we're out of the revel dens. In addition to your thorough searching for Nostus, while you're doing that, I was just going to cover the rest of that. We'll get to the stones here in just a second. You obviously, there's the helm, which you're detect magicking on, which we'll get to in just a second. Overall, you find a total of 37 gold, 19 silver, 11 copper. You also find what looks like a somehow intact. You find several smashed little vials and potion bottles, but you find one that seems to have a reddish liquid inside. You find a reasonably good-looking greatsword with one big notch in its blade, but otherwise looks pretty well intact. A spell component pouch, a druidic focus, a scimitar, wooden shield, a leather armor, chainmail.
Is it chain shirt or chain?
Chainmail.
Okay.
A set of thieves' tools, a rapier, 3 daggers, and 100 feet of rope. Some of these things are a little bit older looking, but the most recent stuff these are the, you find plenty of other, half-rusted swords and destroyed and ruined suits of armor and stuff like that over time. Mm-hmm. But that's the intact stuff. If you want to pick up some of the damaged stuff, let me know. But there's plenty of other stuff, but that's, the intact stuff. And you gather maybe associated with this recently deceased Lorbright seeking party.
Are there, on the fresher corpses, are there any identifiers, any banners, any insignia?
With your role and just generally looking over it and stuff like that, it looked like they had kind of a group motif situation. There were 4 of them that you can see. It looks like they had a braided series of twigs that ended in a kind of rough hewn chunk of stone that's in a 6-sided shape.
Okay. And is that something on an article of clothing that I can rip off?
Yeah, they're like little necklaces that look like they were made from woven branches and stuff like that.
I'll go ahead and take one of those.
Okay.
And show everybody. Some of this can be used, I think. There's this vial of reddish things. I think someone here is good at. Okay.
Touching the 2 stones together. Unfortunately, with the crack and the darkness of it, it doesn't seem like you're gathering any further information. You get the sense that there was a little it's trying, but there's nothing there to regather anymore. So you have a damaged, pretty looking rock. Otherwise, by this point, you're detect magicking. Mm-hmm. Both the bottle of reddish liquid and the helm are registering as magical. The general area of the rotted stumps and the shadowy ground is registering as magical. And there's just sort of a faint enchantment magic in the air as well. The enchantment, in particular, from the there's also obviously the magic from the items is less easy to define because they don't always fall neatly into a school of magic, but there's clearly enchantment magic in both of them as well.
Well, everything around here is magical. I don't know if we could have deducted that from,
The tree moving?
the tree moving. That potion is magical. This helm is magical. All of you have magic items, but you knew that.
Can I try touching our Lorbright stone to the helm?
Yeah, that also yields another sort of gossamer thread as it strikes, and you see almost like the thread almost shapes itself into like an image of a armor-clad woman on a horse, very briefly as it enters the stone.
It would take me 10 minutes each, but I could identify some of these items, or maybe feel like the helm, and then we could get the potion later.
I feel like these 2 got banged up. They might be able to use a bit of a rest and regain some health.
Would just maybe an hour or so. Sit on the bone. Before we do that,
One sec.
Oh, go ahead. No, you're on.
I was just gonna say, can I have the magic things. I'll look them over. I think I can figure it out.
A little quicker than I can, sure.
And then
Was the scimitar not damaged? One of those not damaged ones? Or old, I
Oh,
think?
yes, the scimitar was, in fact, intact. Reasonably intact. It looks like it's still in its sheath, in fact.
Can I take it?
Yes, you can.
that was very
That was very flow.
And then I'm gonna take out the
I love
scimitar
flow.
that was like totally destroyed by that ooze, and like lunge on the tree and just like into the tree.
Okay. Yeah, just stick the damaged
I'm gonna stay there
scimitar.
posing dramatically.
Nice.
Perfect.
Like
You
Captain
look great.
Morgan style
Yes,
on the
yes.
on the branches and stuff. I love it. Hang on, we're going to get to the identification of the items.
If we want to, I'm here for it.
All right, and yours is just a hard cast.
It just happens.
Yeah. Which one are you starting with?
The helmet, of course.
Okay. So yet again, your vision fades, and you sort of your consciousness feels like it ascends to this dusty, tall, marbled, like library-esque room, and you see a book off of a far shelf kind of come. It's a very old, kind of dusty-looking tome, and it flips to the page that shows this helmet. This is. Let me get to. Yeah,
Saw that item card.
this is the Helm of Crusading Conquest. It provides +1 to hit with. It requires attunement. It provides +1 to hit with melee attack rolls, including melee attack rolls of spells. In addition, once per turning, the wearer can use an action to exude a 10-foot aura of an effect that forces a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw for creatures in the area. Creatures that fail are knocked prone and also frightened of the wearer until the end of their next turn. And so the wearer's next turn, end of next turn. The attuned wearer also deals bonus psychic damage equal to their character level against creatures frightened by the helm's aura in this way. So you activate it until the end of your next turn. If they fail, they're frightened, and you would presumably get 1 round of attacking with that bonus psychic damage. Unless you found some way to haste your way through or something like that.
Dope. That's cool.
You also see alongside it a few images of the similar sort of warrior woman sort of done in shining armor on this resplendent mount. And you're kind of seeing some of that imagery in the book just as it sort of shuts and you return back to your existence. The potion, that one comes really quickly and you almost hear just like a please from the back of your head. It's a potion of healing.
Surprising. Nope.
Yeah.
Sassy back of the head, boys.
Yeah. So here's the helm card.
Okay, I guess I'm technically holding it.
Yep. And obviously it requires an hour to attune.
So I feel like that's a Tennille and Slate. Maybe.
I could see an argument. You or I, or maybe Flo.
I can't do. I hardly spellcast.
I can't.
But it also affects your normal melee attacks too. You get +1 to hit with those. So, do you guys want to each roll off? Decide who gets it?
I already have 3 magic items, so just.
I have 1 item.
As far as Slade knows, he only has 1 item.
But what does Brandon know?
More. He has 2.
I would really like it. I think that would be the psychic damage, and that would be really.
It's gonna be a real spooky boy when you
Yeah.
put it on. I like it thematically.
Alright.
Thematically, yes.
I'm taking further dibs on this one.
You have the meat cleaver, don't you?
The Meaver.
The calculator, yes.
This is the Meaver.
It's the Meaver. The Meaver Bane of Beavers.
Well, I suggest we take all of these items so that we can sell some maybe to the next town.
I like that. Might I take the thieves' tools for myself? I had a set as a child, but they're too small for me to use now.
Well, as long as I'm with you, you will always be able to have thieves' tools. I can conjure them at any time.
That's quite interesting.
Bingo.
Bingo.
But if you would prefer to have a set, I
Yes.
just would like you to be unencumbered.
Yes, I'm not Unless thieves told weigh a lot more than I think they do, I will not be encumbered by them. How much do thieves told weigh?
I have to check that one, but I'm also guessing not an obscene amount.
Yeah, if
1 pound.
yeah, okay, less than 4 pounds, I'm fine.
Okay.
Right. The greatsword and other armors will weigh a little bit more. Tanil, you seemed like you were expressing some interest in the chainmail.
I cannot wear it.
Oh, okay.
My strength is not high enough.
Ah.
So yeah, I can wear a
Heavy
chain.
armor, but not because you don't understand.
I don't have strength.
Pencil because
I
my
can wear
pen
a
ran
chain
out.
shirt. Chain shirt is what he can wear.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Just tricking your
I'm
head
gonna
out.
take the rope
Yeah,
for
be
sure.
100 feet of rope, yeah. Make a mark that should be. They're usually done in 50s, so for weight purposes, just have a look at. I think you already have 50 feet of rope.
I do.
So double that, and that's how much more weight you're carrying now for the rope. Otherwise, the other materials,
How's that great sword?
in terms of weight or just in general.
Both.
I just put my book away.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's part of the thing I get for including encumbrance as part of the rules. Not that it matters much for Slate, to be honest.
Well, he's carrying all the flow stuff.
It weighs, yeah, but he can carry like 600 pounds or something obscene. It weighs 6 pounds. It looks like it could use some. It's got like a reasonable notch in the blade on one side. It looks like it could use some could be reacquainted with a whetstone, like use some attention and stuff like that. But you feel confident that you could be able to restore it to, if not pretty, equally effective.
Is there anything else that's shiny that still looks nice?
Renostis, unless you pulled all of it out, there's still the daggers, the rapier. So those would be probably the things that would catch the eye glintiness most. You got all the money and stuff.
Yeah, Flo's gonna grab those.
Okay, the rapier and 3 daggers.
And with my big armful, I'm gonna walk over to my bestie.
What?
And just be like,
What do you have?
A rapier and 3 daggers.
Okay, you're writing these down. Actually, no, wait. I have the card you gave me.
Oh my gosh.
Netka's gonna pick up the druidic focus. In another life, I think I could have been a druid.
Did you want to take this then?
No, but in another life, I do quite like nature.
Actually, these wasn't
I do as well.
rapier and a dagger.
Hang on one sec. The druidic focus, by the way, also seems like it's doubling sort of as a holy symbol situation. It appears to be a hawthorn wand, and at the sort of like pommel end of the wand has a green disc with clouds and a sort of rainbow mixture. It is, which you would recognize with your passive or high arcana rolls and stuff like that, and passive intelligence, you would recognize it is a symbol of the life giver, Timova, the Rain Mother.
It does look quite cool.
Do you think it's valuable? Do you think we could sell it?
Maybe to the right person.
Well,
I don't know. Netko, she'll unbraid her hair, put it up in a bun, and use the wand as a hair stick.
Nice. I like it.
Yes.
Okay.
Blasphemous.
That's what Teal mutters under his breath.
What?
Blasphemous. All right. Rapier, you wanted the weights, right?
Yeah.
Rapier 2 pounds, daggers
yes.
1 each.
Do we want to split the money amongst us all? I know some of us are fairly broke.
Yes.
I did get caught. So that's
Those are expensive, okay?
6 gold and 3 silver to everybody, and then the remaining 1 gold, 1 silver, 11 copper. We can toss them. It's pretty fun.
Okay, so 6 gold, 3 silver?
Yeah.
I gotta write it down for letting the cackler know his cut. All right. So with that, that's what you're doing. You guys, I heard that you guys were also going to be taking a short rest. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Do we feel we can take it safely out here, or I could make us a little hangout?
I feel like it's kind of sketchy here.
Yeah, these weird stumps and that mystery forest you keep on mentioning.
With the burn, well, the forest is great, but with the burn, stumps and all that, it's got quite the ambiance here. The skulls, the putrid nonsense.
Oh, you like this? This is your ideal home decor.
No, it's unique. Like if you're gonna paint this in a picture, it would not be good, but it'd be unique.
I would be very happy to go up in the thing.
Yeah, yes.
Let's go rest in the shade then, under the trees.
Oh, I can make the shade.
What the shade of the stumps? It was the shade of the tree that tried to kill us.
No, Tennille, stop being sassy. The forest right behind over there.
The forest only you can see.
The forest, yes.
So I don't know what game you two are playing,
There is nothing.
but
Flo, can you see a forest? Can you see a forest?
Mm,
You cannot.
no.
But you,
Would
you're
you
not-
best-
Can you see the forest?
No, but I just assumed we couldn't see the path, and you could see it, and we can't see the forest.
I think maybe it's a good idea to rest before we go into the magical forest that only you can see.
you guys are having me on.
Would your bestie lie to you?
Yes.
That's a bit.
In a heartbeat. She will.
You've
Knows
seen
me so well.
Slate. You've seen me try to lie to so many people. Does it work out?
You know the eyebrow twitches when I try to lie. You've seen it. I can't lie.
He cannot play poker either.
The sky is green and his eyebrow starts twitching.
Yes, the sky is
Inside
totally green.
And with your go and roll.
And Flo's like, of course it's green.
Roll low. 6.
I mean, it's so obvious. It's so obvious to you that it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of unbelievable that they can't see it.
Oh, I'm starting to get.
But yeah, I mean, for you, it's like this is so obvious. How can they not see it? It's this in the same situation of how could they have not seen the road that you guys followed to get to this space? And it's overgrown and old ruins of stone, and it looks like there might be some kind of fallen statue that's been just so reclaimed by nature and roots and shrubbery. Yeah, it's it could not be more obvious to you.
I rolled a 2 on my deception, and I have a -2, so it's a 0.
Okay, so but for all that, it does seem like Tennille really just cannot see it, man.
That is really strange. Maybe you should wear your goggles. Maybe the sun's blinding you a bit there. I don't know about the other.
Actually, I will put them on and activate them and see if I can see anything different.
Okay. Everything gets a little darker hued and purple and navy and stuff. While it is much more pleasant on your eyes, it does not reveal anything additional to the nature of what Slade is describing.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing it.
That is really weird. So resting in the spooky graveyard, or
I can remember.
you said you could make the shade, but I don't know what that means.
We've done this before, Slate. On our way to Bright Meadow. Yeah, you also out of character know what this is. Should take out a double-pointed needle, some yarn, and quickly start knitting a rope that goes.
Yield rope trick.
Yield rope trick.
Very nice.
That goes 60 foot long and kind of opens up into this nice knit chamber. Yeah, you just need to find the rope.
That's what this was. Okay.
Alrighty. Are you burning a spell slot to do that?
Yeah, and you can't actually cast it.
No.
It's not Liamon's tiny hut.
Right. So with all that, yeah, as many of you guys want to go in can go in. Cackler's and packs up his flamethrower and then climbs the rope.
It was a valid attempt.
Does anyone not want to climb 60 feet of rope? I got room on my back.
Cackler just jumps right on your back.
I got room for one more.
Grandpa started.
It's a slow climb, but you make it to the rope, to the yarn room, where Anetka has paved the safety for you guys.
She'll pull the rope up and just sort of lay down in the plushy yarn room.
What's the lighting like?
What? Can I control the lighting?
Presumably yes. I'll say yeah, sure.
Just sort of kind of the almost like it's candlelit, just very soothing, soft lighting, like you'd find in a yarn store. Yeah, but like a locally owned yarn store. This isn't a Joann's.
I'm
It's
imagining
like harsh
doing
fluorescent light.
I'm imagining the parlor with grandma and everything is covered in doilies.
dice.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
every
yeah.
surface is covered in
I was
like,
thinking one of the dice pouches and then
yeah,
just
actually,
inside
yeah,
one
like
of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Light
Yeah,
streams through the stitches.
I love it. Okay, so those of you who wish to use hit dice, feel free to elect the number that you're going to use. I did check that rule, by the way. You do get to add your con to each dice.
oh,
So please,
Good. Yeah,
we'll just play it. We'll just play it like that from now on.
I'm going
So
to attune to my fancy new headwear.
okay,
And I'll arcanely recover.
great.
How long does aid last? Is that
8
just-
hours.
8
So
hours?
it's still, you guys are still into the effect. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I cast
Support
it-
cleric, man. It goes a long way.
8 hours.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think over the course of just that fight alone, you've provided like an extra 50 health to the party or something
Yeah,
crazy.
My spiritual weapon didn't do anything, but
You kept everyone around.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure I got Slate for some big whammies, but the double things made a big difference.
Instead of being at 21 health, I would be at 4. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and recover the according health. Cackler, of course, took no damage. So he only took temporary hit point damage, so he is fine as feathers.
Becca's just like, oh, you guys are injured, aren't you?
I wasn't either during the fight.
Oh, Grandpa. That's cute.
Yeah, I got both a little.
Walked a lot.
Alrighty. So with that, short rest ends. You tune to the helm.
What does it look like?
It's an older design. It looks sort of like a Corinthian Roman helm, sans the plume, and it looked like the nose piece and stuff like that. It is winged on its sides, though, kind of up towards the edges, and it is encrusted in a sort of obsidian and silver tracing along the filigree.
That is totally my color
So
scheme.
there's a little bit of like hints of gold in there as well, but that is the general look of it.
During that hour, if I don't use hit dice, can I investigate my evidence still?
Sure. Go ahead and make a intelligence roll. Intelligence check. Excuse me.
12.
12. You look it over and sort of playing with all the pieces and the internal mechanisms and stuff like that. Say with that roll, it's not a particular glaring success. It's certainly not a failure or anything like that, but you don't glean any additional insight over this short of a period of time with that roll.
I'm playing
On a longer period of time, that roll might have yielded you something more, but only an hour doesn't give you a lot of time to look, unfortunately. So rope trick goes down. You guys climb down. You're back into your guys' mind. Still the sort of stained, rusted, blackish and orange scene, like a dark, burnt orange ground amidst these dead stumps and this rotting and decaying large tree. Slate, you're still seeing the lovely nature vista that is reclaiming over the whatever old ruins and the signpost on the iron fence, and all that is still perfectly visible to you, about 60 feet past where the end of the stumps fail. Also, or recede. Also, the road itself is clear to you and extends into this space. It also seems, once it reaches this, like, past the gate point, also shows some signs of overgrowth.
Do you still see the forest?
Do you still not?
Yeah.
Bestie, where's the nearest tree?
That way.
I'm gonna start walking that way. I'm like, am I hot or cold?
She's getting closer. She's able to, sort of
Warmer.
closer, and
Like maybe leave.
I'm gonna use my sword, to like try and touch.
and you
the
see,
tree.
you feel, and you actually tap it against one of the stone like posts, almost like an old school lamp post built of brick or stone or something. To your eye, it just looks like open air, and you're.
Trippy! You guys gotta check this out.
Go to where she is and kind of knock on it.
Feels like stone wrapping on your knuckles.
Yeah, there's a stone post there.
Yeah, it looks pretty dumb to you, since you're just watching them like.
I don't think anyone's home. Maybe we should.
She potentially use Mage Hand and kind of have it do the same thing.
Okay, yeah. Mage hand sort of tapping against the edges.
Magic. It's insane.
Masonry. It's insane.
Renasus will grab a handful of dirt and just throw it at it.
It sort of scatters and lands on it, and then it sort of also seems to even out and vanish.
So you guys can't see this, right?
Not at all.
Why would I be tapping this hollow stone post I can see?
I tend not to ask questions.
Wait. Who did the cool glowy thing on the tree?
I have to be able to see it in order to. It's just like an area.
Yeah, you did it on a point on the ground past the tree in the first place, right? Pretty sure it's a point.
Oh.
I will use my racial and kind of go up to Renostus and 20 feet beyond where Renostus and Flo are attaching the pole. I'll cast Fairy Fire.
Okay, what color is Fairy Fire for Tennille?
It's definitely kind of a silvery purple, it's a silver and purple.
Nice. Some nice purple light just blooms in that space, and it illuminates and casts out in a sort of starbursty kind of effect. But it does not cling to anything. It does not illuminate anything.
She miss.
What does it look like to me then?
It also, to you, it looks like it illuminated the space.
Yeah, she hit it. It's pretty good. It's all silk. It's all circle. You know what? Does it look like it would hold my weight if I stood on it?
Stood on what?
The lamppost.
Yeah.
So I'll climb
It's
up.
solid. It's solid. It's got like a 4-foot base and it's a few feet tall.
Okay, and I'll stand out with one foot, put my arms out, bend over like a crane.
Yeah. And indeed, you see him standing in the air like an 8-foot Goliath crane.
Why don't you try lighting the lamppost while you're up there?
The lampost's lantern part is missing. It's not there.
Well,
It's just a stand.
He wouldn't know it.
Yeah, but it's just a to your eye. It's just a stand. That's one. I'm picturing it because in my childhood home I had a little lamppost there, but that was stony like that. So that's what I'm thinking of. Stony.
The stone was stony.
Yeah.
Well, Tiny, why don't you lead the way since you can see this and we can't? Maybe we can. Oh god, the conga line returns.
Session title: Conga Line into Danger.
Alright, that's fine.
Danger conga.
Okay. So it's slow going as you guys all kind of pair up, arms on each other's shoulders or backs or whatever's comfortable for each of you. Whoever's doing it to Slade is probably reaching up and getting his lower shoulder blade. Okay.
Is that grandpa? That's a very grandpa.
No, he's not that kind of grandpa.
Cackler. I feel like that's a cackler move.
Yes.
I think Kakarot can reach.
Before we go, though, can I?
Try.
I'm gonna
Try
take
real
the chainmail. I'm gonna take the pouch of skill components, but I also want to rip off a hunk of the bark of the spooky tree and just kind of put that inside my jacket.
Yeah, I'd say you're able to easily rip off a hunk of bark. I mean, there's plenty that Slow created as it is. Slow? Flow? I was looking and I just got the two of you.
Flow and Slip combined with big water elemental.
Yeah. You also wanted to pick up the chainmail.
Yes.
Okay, it is 55 pounds.
I can carry a lot.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You're Firbolg with a higher carry weight. So, despite his very dapper appearance, he just hawks it over one shoulder and rolls it into a ball, no problem.
I imagine that, that picture that I sent, she just got this big backpack.
And you also wanted to pick up the druidic focus. Was that right? Or the component pouch?
I'm using it as a hair stick.
That's right.
You know.
Component pouch, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are worth a lot.
It's like chainmail.
Those have some value.
Yeah, all of that has some value.
Yeah,
Is there
for sure.
anything else you guys saw that you think we can sell?
I mean, I
The
grabbed the
great sword,
daggers
maybe.
and rapiers.
I do grab the great sword.
You grabbed that.
I
We're just-
did.
I'm
Technically, she
trying
grabbed it. She just didn't carry it. Which is pretty standard MO for Flo.
always use money, so if you see
And that's everything. That's
Okay.
That's everything that was listed. The only thing that I didn't hear people grab was the leather armor. It looked like there was some leather armor that was being worn by one of the more druidic-looking
I think
corpses.
I might actually be able to carry that. I don't know.
I'll hold on to the healing potion for now, but just If anyone needs it, let me know.
I also have one, by the way, and I'll show people where my healing potion is stored. You know,
Okay.
just in case another ooze tries to vomit all over me.
Yes, would it makes sense for maybe me to carry one of those since I tend to stand far back and don't get hit that much?
Absolutely.
Would it make sense for me to carry one of those?
Absolutely not.
I feel like Nate's going to use that phrase a fair bit, though, to be honest. Would it make sense for me to carry one of those?
Yeah, he's gonna use that all the time.
Oil paintings, statues,
That was a
all money.
a neat little. Was that a bee?
Oh, yes, and the bee right now is probably like hanging out in the berry dream plant. It's a project I've been working on for a while, and it seems this was the maiden voyage, if you will.
In Flo's voice, honey!
I haven't implemented that feature on this one yet. Maybe in the future.
Boss says no.
In the 1.2 build.
Okay.
Yeah. So stay tuned, I suppose.
The 1.2 build, I love it.
Distro.
Okay, so you guys are heading though, conga line style. Let's get marching order here, and we'll just represent.
If we need marching order, you know it's not good.
What about going into the forest? Only one.
Slate first.
I will give him vigilant blessing.
Good
before
call.
we do this. So
This is going.
And I can't go behind the cat.
Also, so hey Ren.
Yes.
Oh, sorry Ren. Yeah, I love your beat. But to Neil,
yes.
you can't see the forest. You only saw the tree, right?
Yeah, the tree that tried to kill us. Yeah, I saw that. I saw
Okay.
that.
So would I have disadvantage on like sight-based checks in the shaded forest?
In this portion, as you go along, actually no. The canopy starts thickening enough, the trees are close enough together that while there are stretches of bright light, you're able to avoid them pretty easily. It's like streamers of light coming through a forest canopy in deep, coniferous forests and deciduous trees and stuff like that. It's not hard to avoid direct, beaming sunlight in your eyes kind of situation. So you actually don't suffer you're in shaded conditions.
What is vigilant blessing?
It gives advantage on initiative.
Okay.
It's a like trickster clerics get blessing of the trickster kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Hers
Well,
is
seeing that we're
his in this case.
we're going into a conga line straight into danger. Ren will go up to Slate and put hand on the shoulder and go, "You were a big man out there, but you're always a big man in here." I can give you guidance. So
Yes.
1d4 add the number, roll 2, add ability check your choice.
No one's ever told me that before. That's
mean,
actually very sweet.
And the way you spiked that oblivion brings a tear to this old man's eye. Truly beautiful.
Aww.
And then he'll get back in the conga line.
Is everyone satisfied with the order of models?
Yeah.
Did Slate want something from Tennille?
Well, I guess now that my eyes don't hurt. Do your eyes hurt? You don't like the sun
I don't like
like
this
me
one.
either, right?
That's a good point. Once we're inside the forest, do I notice a difference in how I perceive the light, or me and Anika actually, and the cackler?
Sorry, buddy.
No, it's a very clever point. Go ahead and make a general intelligence check for each of you.
Each of us. Woo! Int.
This is not gonna be good. Oh, that's actually okay. That's not terrible.
Yep.
That's a 14.
19.
Both of you feel as if it is sunny.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish we were in a forest. So bright.
You can see in the dark, right? Or you have dark vision, right?
I have the dark adaptation. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want dark vision for days?
I like how you phrase that.
Dark vision for days!
But I'm okay at the moment.
Okay.
So you're going forward. Just go ahead and make a general perception check. You can go ahead and add your guidance value that Renostis
You
just
can add it
kindly.
before or after making the ability check.
Is it just everything, or do I pick one thing?
You pick
one.
thing. But you can add it after.
But isn't it only for a minute?
It is only for a minute.
So it might be worth it to...
Yeah, this is over a minute's worth of travel
Oh,
that we're.
thanks. Yeah, it is. You guys know you know all the spells.
Melania's
We-
guidance.
Tana recently acquired guidance.
Ah.
Combined for a dirty 20.
30-20. Okay. So heading deeper into the ruins of whatever settlement once lay there, you make your way to at least the opening sign path, and it looks like similar to how you could tell that there was writing on the signpost that led this direction, but couldn't actually make out the words. Same deal here. There is writing here, and you cannot. It's like smudged and blurry to your eye.
Can I bring my hand across this? Like, can I feel words, or is it like painted on? Or
It feels like it is painted on. But you are able to open the wrought iron gate. They did not.
This is not great.
It's a beautiful little forest. Huh?
Yeah, it's a lovely sight to you. You see off to one side what looks like a crumbled statue, overgrown, and like roots growing through it and stuff like that. And you continue to move forward into whatever the ruins of this settlement that once lay here. You begin to sort of feel, even you, things are growing hazy in your sight. And all of you who are seeing an open grassy field, that also seems to go hazy a little bit in your sight. Your vision is starting to play tricks on you a little bit. Any traces, sort of audio or visual of audible or visual of grass-infested cobblestones underfoot begins to fade, and the trees sort of stretch and bend into green blobs. You sort of get flashes of light playing across your vision, perhaps fireflies that sort of linger as things fade into a sort of confusing blur of aqueous motion. You're all unsure of how long you're held in this like strange experience's grasp. However, when you come to, your surroundings are quite different. You stand at a crossroads of a well-worn path in a slightly more southern light band, though the light of Sol is still sturdily in the sky. The road you're on has a signpost at its branch where you stand. The 4 signs marked with yellow suns and one with a purple eye, although this seems to be slashed, maybe perhaps with a vandal with a knife. The northeast post reads Bright Meadow 50, Solney 103. The east post reads Sunstream 77, Tinderbluff 160. The west post Shimmerleaf 100, Copperdeep 190, and to the southeast it reads Flywatch 95, that's the one with the purple eye, and Lunavir 115. So, doing some quick mental arithmetic, you guys get the sense that you journeyed for another turning, and you're tired. You're very tired, worn out, but like checking around and stuff like that. You're tired, you're footsore, as if from a long day's journey, a long turning's journey, and you don't recall eating, but all of you are at -1 ration.
Oh.
Okay, that was weird. That was really strange. Maybe you guys didn't actually see that. You weren't having me.
Yeah.
That was.
Everyone else tired and hungry? I've only been traveling for what, like a few hours?
Yeah, so you remember that we had traveled a couple turnings before to get to that crossroads where you first found the sign that deviated. And then from your guys' perspective, it's unsure how long you guys were there to get to the road in the first place that led to the tree, and then definitely even more uncertain following up from that. But you are where you're at, having gained that extra distance, and those of you who have a timepiece, like Cackler checked his timepiece, for instance, and he writes, it looks like we lost a turning. Or gained one, question mark, since we still traveled.
How many days would it have taken should we have been on the path we expected to go?
1.
To get to this location, about a turning. Maybe a little bit, this seems like it was maybe a little more direct.
Gotcha.
So just judging by overall time, the timepiece helps a lot for placing that kind of stuff. And he's got little laughing cackler alarm that he's built into it.
Horrible.
That seems to go off like you guys are right around the morning time that he normally sets, or start of turning time that he normally sets. And for all of that, you feel like you guys, in fact, you guys would get long rest benefits.
Whoa.
Okay.
Were we still feeling tuckered?
Not exhausted, but just tired in general. Like you didn't get the best night's sleep.
Okay.
That kind of tired, not like I have a point of exhaustion kind of situation.
So,
You're footsore and stuff like that. Like you guys have been traveling on the road for a couple days, and it just feels like you've added or a couple turnings. Excuse me, and you've added another.
Like an expected level of.
Yeah, expected level of additional fatigue from travel.
Okay.
so Captain, what time of the turn is it?
And he writes the time. About 10 hours past turning.
So,
That'd be 10 a.m.
So, I'm a little tired, but it seems like it's late morning. Do you want to keep track?
Okay, we should, yeah.
I'll do my morning cast of the Cackler and Vigilance Blessing to sleep.
Okay, and now you're back to bright sun. I mean, it's less like noonday, midday, early afternoon kind of sun of the Solney Light Band. It's slightly less than that. Like you've traveled further south, as indicated by the mile posts as well. But still bright sunlight and stuff like that affecting your vision. There's no copse of trees anywhere to be seen. There's an occasional standing tree, off the side of the pathway and stuff like that, or around the rolling hills that make up this region, but it's not particularly bad. And Slate, you hear in the back of your head, a familiar presence, one hard to place for certain. Most unusual to be found here of all places. Old things are stirring in unexpected locations.
I feel like I don't know in my mind, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the answer, but do you want to elaborate on that? Also, hello.
I'm thinking of a way to dumb it down to your level. Unless I'm very much mistaken, and I never am, it seems there was some sort of barrier here. Compulsion and memory. Retroactive filling in, from the look of things. Reasonably subtle, too. Nothing I can currently manifest through you will do anything to circumvent it. It's only thanks to my presence you can see anything at all.
You know, I appreciate it.
If you were to... Well, your appreciation is meaningless.
Love you too, buddy.
In any case, in order for your primitive minds to be able to endure such a experience, you would need powerful tools of the Memorious, if I recall correctly, to protect your physical vessels.
Well, thank you.
Your gratitude is meaningless.
Edge.
And you feel the presence recede.
So guys, and stay with me on this one. Trust me, because it's weird. Weirder than apparently seeing things. So, then I'll explain what the voice in my head said. And that's what he told me. I think it's even hard to tell, but...
Oh.
It's sort of an androgynous...
It sounded like it.
Well, I can only do so much, but it's sort of an androgynous-esque voice. It definitely got a lot of... it just feels like it's beyond gender and the need for procreation. You also get the sense that it is, not that you didn't already get the sense, but it holds you and the rest of the individuals, particularly those who couldn't see it, in contempt in a you're primitive kind of way.
So, well, that's weird.
But go on, carry on with your important tasks, I'm sure.
I mean, if you got something for me, I'm listening.
You just get silence.
I didn't anticipate.
So, weird thing. So, the rest of us weren't able to see anything, and you were only able to see what you saw because of this weird... Do you know who the weird voice in your head is?
I have absolutely no idea.
Comforting.
I have amnesia. I'm sorry.
I have amnesia, I'm sorry!
Thank you for the support.
Bingo.
But there were a bunch of dead bodies, one of which had that Lordbright stone, which means that was fairly recent. The Lordbright program only just begun. How did they get there? Like, it seems weird if it's just a grass field like we were seeing without any signs, just walk straight through a grass field.
I mean, it seems like the direction we took was more of a direct route towards maybe wherever they were going. We just got unlucky.
Yeah, maybe they just knew of it. Maybe they were gifted in some way that Slate is.
But we all saw the tree.
We all saw the tree.
So if they were taking a shortcut, I don't know where that would be a shortcut to.
Well, I mean, it was kind of right down the middle. I could see if you were trying to go to the south, but that's why you have to be careful off-road traveling. You know, severed heads and all that.
Can I say that we took the Liberated Stone? I didn't know if we explicitly said it.
Daniil had grabbed it, yeah.
Talk about it.
And we should... I wonder if the Lawbright office, it seems like they might be able to figure out who those people were. From, you know, because it sounded like each Lawbright Stone was registered.
I don't know what we'll do for a dead adventuring party,
But maybe it
Might
just
be.
inform next of kin would be nice.
notify their families if they have families.
Kind of curious where they were going, how they decided to take that shortcut, and who they were could potentially...
Well, I also grabbed this, and I'll show the insignia, so we have another.
Oh, and this as well, from the Druid.
Yes, it looks great.
Thank you.
Well, shall we
Excuse me?
carry on?
Okay.
Because you've always been a pinnacle of religious reverence.
Let's travel. That's not funny.
Willa's gonna while everybody else is talking, she's gonna slowly peer underneath things and am I intact? Is all my stuff intact? Paranoid, kind of what?
You take inventory. Otherwise, aside from the missing ration and a little less water in your guys' water skins, you feel everything's there.
Okay.
Just not a particular recollection of what happened. But as you guys ready to angle either off-road or back on the paved streets and roads that lead to your destination of, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys were heading in the direction of Flywatch. We're going to go ahead and take a break. So we'll go get a chance to be refreshed in a few minutes. We'll come right back, so don't go away if you're watching there at home, and we'll be right back.
I did my experimental elixir
Okay, we are back and returning to our party here after our potty breaks. And we are here, having returned as the party just navigated a rather strange gap of travel time that they encountered after beginning to traverse the strange forest that only Slate could see. Slate's mental guest / fellow individual
Friend.
indeed indicated a few pieces of snarky information, but otherwise the party was able to overcome the tree of heads and emerge from the encounter with a fancy warhelm that Tennille is now sporting. So
You're wearing it?
Oh yeah, I get you into that. Oh no, I look ridiculous
Yes,
for
it-
hide armor, but it looks yeah.
You have hide armor,
and then like an old
and then like a epic
Corinthian helm with like wings.
And it's not even good hide armor. It's patched and damaged and puke stains.
Amazing.
Nice. That's
Beautiful.
yeah. It's colorful.
I'm intimidating just because I look so hideous.
But you guys are able
Thought that
to.
about you, Tennille.
Nice.
Damn.
That's some burns right there. So you guys are continuing on, angling down through the road that's pointing towards your destination of Flywatch. At this point, it's about 95 miles away, which still, given your guys' travel pace and stuff like that, is probably about 4 turnings without any major delays or terrain issues or anything like that. If you guys travel at normal pace.
We all can see the scenery around. I just want to double check after.
Are there any trees that people are noticing?
There are some normal trees, just like one here and the occasional couple over there in the distance.
As we're going on, like,
between the
Triangle
roads
Street,
and stuff
everyone
like
see this tree?
Play I Spy on the road.
I
basically.
Let me take a look at that signpost right there.
Everyone see that monster with all the tentacles?
No.
Kidding.
Roll initiative. It's there now.
Ah, damn! I pulled it into existence.
It's an invisible bubble, dude.
Oh no.
No, don't you? We are level.
Good idea. Invisible.
Don't put that
So
equal to
dead.
world.
So dead.
Yeah. Okay. So you look at the signpost. It is, as I described, with all the posts that I indicated. No unusual ones that spring out to your mind. No road behind you that you can see. Nothing. No forest or anything like that you can see. It just back to normalcy.
Well, that was a neat little diversion. Alright, off we go.
Making our way downtown.
All right, so you guys continue on. Go ahead and just make whoever's taking point can go ahead and just make a general perception or survival check.
We would have pushed Slate up just to be like, well, you can see things we can't.
That's probably legitimate.
I will make this a survival check. So I'm not at disadvantage.
Ooh. Big brain boy over here.
Okay. Survival. Which I am proficient in.
Nice.
Survive.
But I did not roll well.
We don't.
6. You're moving along. You're a little shaken by this whole experience. Just confused maybe or stuttered a little bit. Obviously, given your personal experience and stuff like that, it's a little more concerning.
That I forgot something.
Yeah. Since you don't have as much history to go on as everyone else. But you continue on. The path is the path, and you don't deviate from it. Overall, you wouldn't notice any particular strangeness, but for the fact that these roads here are much less well-maintained than even those that were well-worn along the roads to Bright Meadow that we're seeing the patrols and stuff like that. From what you can tell, at least quite a few individuals passed here en masse not too long ago. But with that roll, you don't get any other information. But otherwise, the days or the turnings travel passes without event. So we just come to the end of a turning where you guys are getting ready to bed down. It's been a long one. You're footsore, tired, a little bit beleaguered, and bewildered by, dare I say, through some of the experiences that you encountered and didn't encounter along the foresty road. So, with that, you guys are just camping down by the roadside. General scenery, like I said, you're starting to get a little bit closer to like afternoon sun time as the bands descend and you guys are traveling further and further south. The overall weather has turned into a dry wind blowing from the north down. Kind of otherwise sort of partly sunny kind of situation. But you don't notice any major rain clouds or anything like that. Like you only got what it was going to get. You kind of get the sense of that from the cloud carvers. So, you guys bed down anywhere in particular, or just by the roadside, a little bit off to the road?
Maybe by the roadside, since the woods are creepy, and wherever they bed down, and that will do a line of alarm.
Sounds good. Yeah, there's no major woods or anything like that now. There's the occasional tree and stuff like that you guys have passed. Tufts of longer and larger grasses here of varying kinds, but you're not getting to a huge variety of trees or thicker things that Slate was seeing when he was describing the scene to you. This area is kind of hilly in general. So, you've set up an alarm and everyone's bedding down. Do we have a rest order or anything?
Cleo, do you want to take watch with me?
Slate.
Sure.
So I had to hold on a second.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So Ren, just a quick question. In all your tools, do you have any like metal solvents?
I could take a peek. I imagine that in. Let's see what toolkits I have. I've got alchemist supplies. I've got tinker's tools, navigator's tools, carpenter's tools.
You got the tools.
I think that I might have some solvents. Why do you ask?
I was just thinking that maybe with that and my smithing tools and maybe some, I don't know, maybe either some clothes like scrap metal or the 7 daggers I have. I can fit the.
They call me Slate of Sevens. 7 daggers.
I can, maybe use that piece of one to like mend the chip in this broadsword.
You could give it a shot. I would caution against using metal solvents if you're trying to repair metal.
Just maybe add a lot, so maybe it dries together. I don't know how this works. Melt it together. I don't know.
That probably wouldn't do so well, you would know that. But you feel confident in using some of the mixture of Tinker's tools, which do include some like sharpening and files, like fine metal files and stuff like that, in combination with a dagger. You'd probably be able to even out the burr in the blade.
Why not make it a feature instead of a bug? How about you dive in and maybe make more notches so you have also a serrated element? It would look very cool.
Oh, that's it. It's a nice idea, but that work.
You get the sense, and from your book that of metal repair, you would know that you would need some proper tools to be able to do that in a way that wouldn't damage the integrity of the blade.
Very well.
Yeah, I got this fancy book. It's Gaffer's Guide.
I wouldn't say Gaffer's Guides are fancy books, but agreed.
Okay, so that's what you're doing during your rest. I heard you guys are on first watch together, the two of you. And I'm just flipping to the books in case you guys decide to read on your watches. So I'm going to get to that in a second. Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to. So first watch, you two. Who's on second watch?
I'm happy to.
Okay, anyone joining?
I would be working on the greatsword.
Okay, so you can't really actively contribute, but you can at least be there in case trouble.
Shouldn't be alone on a watch.
Yeah, good call. So the two of you are together, and Cackler will pair up with Flo. And he's been eyeing you and your pistol a lot, and he writes, "Can I have a look?" And like holds it up.
What are you gonna do with it? You gotta tell me first. What do you want?
He just writes, "Better boom."
Oh, so you don't like my pistol?
He undermines and puts 2 exclamation marks and just like points.
Better move.
I'll let you look at it if I get to look at it with you and you tell me what you're doing. Insight check.
Make an insight check.
This is Nicholas playing, and not
Yeah, I know.
me.
12.
I mean, he seems legitimate. You know, you get the sense he might find a way to, like, you know, use the information he gleans to his advantage.
course.
But, like, you know, he's a fan of bigger booms in general.
Yeah.
So,
Ran after my own heart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so you guys are on the
Gonna
third.
work on it together. But
Probably.
also, like,
Yeah.
trade off on being more focused.
Yeah. So, first watch. Janelle and Anetka.
And I was gonna flip through my Captain's Guide to the Shaded Reach carrying this.
Okay.
Oh, those are both terrible.
6, I had a natural 20 and a 5.
I got a 10.
You know, it's been a long day. Or a couple of days. You're not really sure. Turnings. But, you know, you're not particularly alert and guarded. But thankfully, it seems like your watch passes without major event.
Well, after an uncomfortably long silence, Anetka not looking up from her knitting. So, do you just like living in the street?
He's just kind of flipping through his book, like a finger every once in a while and turning a page. Pardon?
Do you like living on the street?
I didn't care for it much.
You care for... But you have this rich uncle. You could have just lived with him.
Did you get the feeling that my uncle was a particularly caring or understanding or even kind to filthy street urchin nephew kind of person?
He gave you that money and he gave you... Looks like you had like 4 walls and a roof over your head.
I had 4 walls and a roof of Brody.
There was mold everywhere.
Oh, it's sun mold. It's not that bad.
You had it.
The fruity
I just-
eyes are little sunshines.
Can't imagine having family and choosing to live that life anyway.
Damn!
Just a little knife's twist right there.
I'm glad Slate's asleep. You don't want to be a part of
Kind
this,
of
man.
like pulls out, randomly just has like a fancy ribbon and puts it in his book. Closes it. I lived on the street longer than you have been alive. And the idea that your family is your blood is something that I feel like you and I have similar opinions on. Brody took me in when I was a little half-mad, half-starved, sunburnt street urchin. Didn't know where he was and didn't remember his parents. Galen didn't find me until many years later. Brody was kind to me, and I wanted to repay that kindness.
I mean, I understand that a bit. I mean, I have something to be said for Brody too, but just he's a person who is never kind to you unless he feels he can get something in return.
And sometimes I can provide that, and sometimes I can't.
Family provides that no matter what, Janelle. Right. Yes.
I feel like you have a point, Anitka. Spit it out.
It's just, I don't. It just feels. Maybe if you find street urchins, you should take them to an orphanage instead of a street gang.
Do you think that an orphanage in the slums would have been any better?
Maybe, maybe not. But I don't think I would have learned to pickpocket at age 3.
It's a valuable life skill.
Yeah, until you get caught.
Then you needed to practice more.
I got caught.
Cackler in his sleep just goes, bingo. turns over.
I got caught, luckily by the right people, but looking back and talking to Bria and Nadia, I could have... There are so many ways I could have been killed by the wrong person looking at me in the salt pools.
Why'd you look at me? I didn't do it.
He was like,
Everyone's spooked by the forest now. Everyone's like, noise, what? I think it was the ice machine.
it was.
He's like taking a very deep breath and trying to calmly channel the mature adult, but he's not. Do you remember the day I found you?
Yes, I was sunburnt open. Oh, only thing on my back were the clothes on my back and a necklace.
I found you, and I remembered being that sunburnt orphan. And I can't give you a good reason, Anika, for why I didn't take you to an orphanage, other than I didn't know that they would take good enough care of you. And I didn't think that my uncle... We have a tenuous, uncomfortable relationship, if you have not noticed.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would have responded well to me bringing home a half-orc orphan.
He does seem kind of cold.
It was the best option that occurred to me at the time. If you have not noticed, I am not, in elf years, all that old myself. I do stupid things.
I have noticed that.
So he's like trying to keep his composure. And I'm sorry that I did not take you to an orphanage, but can you regret finding your parents?
I guess I cannot. It's just spent the first, I've spent 6 years of my life. You were the only one in that gang that did not see me as either a tool or a liability.
Well, I hope that was something, at least.
I guess I wish you had, taken me away from the street gang and run. That's all I wanted, but you weren't ever gonna leave them, so I didn't ask.
I've left now.
Yes, you have.
And woken us up with sibling spat.
Yeah, it's a very angry sibling spat.
It's you guys are sleeping deeply. It's been a long day. Returning.
Whisper yelling.
Yeah, I would say over the course of this, perhaps this is why you did not get a lot of information out of your perception checks. You probably didn't get that far into your book reading either. So perhaps you were beginning to read a section that talked about how the Shaded Reach was comprised later of subsumed cities and regions nearby. It began with Shadvir, which started as a penal colony for Solny and Sanctus, and sort of turned at large into a larger such colony in 106 AC. So it's been around for a couple hundred years in one form or another. It's eventually morphed into a proper city and Reach of its own in 208. So it's been just over 100 years of hardship and uprisings. So that's about all you got, since you got distracted by the sibling rivalry going on there, or adopted sibling rivalry.
Yes, well, I'm going to bed. And she takes something out of her bag, throws it at you, and lays down. It's a pair of perfectly knit fingerless gloves with little skulls on the back of them that cover your tattoos almost exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Kind of looks at it and looks where you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Because he's looking me up for longer because I don't have to sleep. And
I think there's last watch anyway.
First watch.
Oh.
Sorry. I'll put on the gloves and then just try to continue reading and finish out the rest of my 4 hours or whatever time I left before I did my trance.
Got it. All right. Well, very nice. Get some more interesting information between the two of you. I like it. So you guys move on to the next watch, which I believe the pairing was Renostus and Slate.
Yes.
Slate, you're busy with your whetstone, your improvised whetstone, files, and dagger. I'm not going to have you make a skill check, just based on the book that you've got. You've got the guide to metal repairs. You successfully restore the blade to functioning, if not pretty, but you do damage one of the daggers and render it useless in exchange. Yeah, bummer. But it's better than damaging the files, which you give back to Renostus intact. So Renostus, you can go ahead and make a single perception check to be on watch, because he's busy with that.
Once I see that Slate's not looking, I'm gonna with old man shuffle. I'm gonna down my experimental elixir of flight, and I'll use that to go up in the air and try to get a better bird's eye view for my.
I love it. I'll give you advantage. That's great.
Thank you. Okay. So that's. Hold on. Let me get my. I need to switch to having everything. That's 24. Switch to having everything.
You can see far in the distance, getting the flight that you get over the time. And you see some other birds, sun swallows and a few robins and things like that dwell in this area that pass you by. They're giving you a wide berth, but, otherwise accept you as the strange companion to their otherwise normal flight. From the air, it's easier to see what Slate might have mentioned is definitely true, which is that a big group came through this area. En masse force, and you can see some troughs of deeper than what wagon wheels would account for that are beside or even on the road, wearing it away. In the far distance, in the direction that you guys are going, maybe a little bit off the road, it's hard to tell because you don't see the road go the whole way, but on the horizon you can just see, you're able to see from this vantage point more than a few miles. So you'd be able to get the sense that there's some kind of structure or series of towers of some kind, or reaching, maybe it's a forest. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's something of that kind of general height on the horizon. But otherwise, you're not seeing any particular threats or worries immediately encountering you or stuff like that. In truth, this area is pretty sparse, and it's... You saw how many refugees there were outside of Solney when you guys were leaving, and it seems like that situation is probably explaining a lot of the lack of travelers and just general passers-by. The further south you get, closer to the border and stuff, tensions tend to rise in general, but this isn't what you would have expected. You would have expected to have seen someone by now.
Okay.
But otherwise, watch ends. He doesn't notice a thing.
We're just exhilarated. He's gonna have a hard time going to sleep. It was so exciting.
So, you return to watch. You've succeeded in your endeavor there, Slate. You've got the information you've got. And moving on to Cackler and Flo. What we'll do is have Flo, you go ahead and make a single straight perception check. This is accounting for 2 disadvantages, trying to work together and evening out to just a normal one.
Is that, that is correct.
Oh my god.
Hard to do on a 20-sided die, but sometimes it does happen.
You said perception?
Yes, please.
14.
14. You don't notice anything in particular. Again, it seems a little strange. Some birds and stuff like that flying overhead, which maybe make you a little more jumpy than other people. Same thing with Cackler. Both of you were like... Okay, and back to what we were doing. But otherwise, nothing too major that crosses your guys' path. We'll go ahead and roll. We'll have Cackler roll an intelligence check with advantage, thanks to that. And he's got his Tinker's tools out. He is checking. What did I do with? There we go. Cackler's character sheets. Yep. Okay, that's what I thought. Yep. Same roll twice. 18. So yeah, over the course of it, he kind of pulls out and he kind of holds up a lens and sees how it reflects the lights and kind of does the works on his thing. You're watching him do it, and stuff like that. You see he's opening it up and kind of taking a look at some of the internal mechanisms and stuff, and he's pulling out like a book or a little sketchbook that he's writing a few notes in kind of like a shorthand or of some kind that he's writing down. But then on his chalk slate, he's writing a whole bunch to communicate to you because he doesn't have this repetition. looks like it's modular. Looks like we're on the right track. I'm thinking we need a few adjustments and some bigger tools, maybe during a time when we get to the city. I'd love to add some of this powder to my crossbow and see what happens. Would you let me do that?
Get your own powder. She's gonna like tuck it away.
He kind of slumps over to the side a little bit. But yeah, you do get one success between the two of you on your investigatory sort of tracker. In general, he's kind of conveying that it's not only modular, but it seems like you could use some additional lenses and stuff like that to focus the aim mechanism a little bit better. Being able to be a little bit easier to get like a sight on it. And also to reduce the time, or to not reduce the time, but to activate this like second chamber barrel that seems to be there and has a lot of reflective lenses in it. So that's what you get during your sort of investigation of the situation. Anything else?
I'll be like, it might not be lumen dust, but here's something yellow and shiny, and I'll give him a gold piece.
Sort of like, so he'll take the +1 gold, no problem. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this to the side here for a second. So to Neil,
So,
during your sleep,
okay.
you have a dream.
Oh.
People dream.
I'm not used to getting these kind of things. That's all Slade who gets the fancy dream conversations.
Just pulling up the section. Here it is. All right. So from the first person, you sort of have strong, muscular, feminine hands, and you are wearing a resplendent, silvered armor, and have a shining, almost like strange, silver white battle axe. And you mount on a beautiful, resplendent, barded warhorse set with gilded barding. It's all done in sort of an old, stylized Solnian sun label. And you are... The dream sort of flashes, and you're sort of riding down and slashing through with your arc of silver through this like shadow of various shapes and forms with, armor and like soldiers and stuff like that kind of make form out of the space. And a storm tide of darkness glooming up and clinging to the dark ravel that claws its way from the sunny north. You ought to wipe them all out. The shadow should have been cleansed of this darkness long ago. Perhaps you will do it once and for all. And you see individuals sort of cowering beneath your blade and your charge, and you find yourself hating them. And you wake up just like cradling your helm.
Okay.
So we all come to long rest benefits for everybody. Restored spell slots, hit dice, hit points, all that good stuff. And you guys come too. So what's everyone doing as we get ready to disembark?
Go cast mage armor on herself. Looks like she didn't sleep well.
Before we head out, I'll do my normal aid and vigilant blessing.
Slate, feeling like he has an insufficient number of knives, will use the cross dagger patch to get 2 more knives.
Nice. So you just ding, 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 and get 2 knives and pull them out.
Even more.
Do you have enough knives? What do you call those knives?
I mean, I'd like a nice big discussion, but,
Now
let's
that-
go for what we got.
Now that's a knife.
That's enough.
So Renastus has his morning tea, and he's pouring his little tea kettle. So last night I had the opportunity to get a enhanced view of the area.
Why didn't you have time for that?
You were so preoccupied. I didn't want to interrupt. Your sword looks very nice. You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
You're
It
welcome.
means a lot.
Okay. It appears that there's hardly anybody on the road. But in addition, that a few things that I noticed, that there are strange gouge marks on the road going ahead. Things that don't look consistent with a cart or a wagon. We'll probably see those, so we want to check them out up closer when we come upon them. But I also saw what looks like a structure, maybe forest, maybe a building. I couldn't really tell from. It was very far off in the future, or in the distance.
Both, I mean.
Can you see the future?
Not that I know of. But I did make this fancy potion this morning. If anybody would like to maybe change the way they look for a small period of time, let me know. I can't guarantee that it will taste good. And it's like a kind of the jade beetles, how they have like that iridescent, like green to purple to blue shift. It's just like that liquid.
Yes.
Nice.
That's great.
Cackler just sort of like and pulls out his like death plague doctor mask and like fits it over his head, and then activates its ability, and he transforms into a very like completely bland looking human, like balding with like brown hair, brown eyes, like slightly olive colored skin, just looking like your total typical Selenian. He's just like and walks off.
Do you think he chose that for himself, or was?
Well, I think maybe for one of these two, since I think the rest of us can change our appearance at will.
What's that?
Maybe for her, so that she kind of stands out.
You kind of do. So does Tiny, though, to be fair.
But as we get further south, he'll stand out less.
Oh no, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll hand you my elixir, and
Do those like disappear after?
after a long rest.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But I mean, we might, if we get to the end of the day without using it, we should just use it for fun.
Just for fun, yeah. You get the alter self spell. You get to determine what you look like, and it only lasts for 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'll hang on to it.
Let me know how it works and how it tastes.
How did you get such a good view, Grandpa?
I may have made one of those for myself.
Oh!
Altered your appearance and it gave you a great view?
No, this is a new recipe that I'm trying. I don't really know if it will really do anything. We'll have to see, I guess. But the one that I made last night allowed me to fly temporarily.
Which
Great.
you.
It was an excellent time.
When did you do that?
I missed that.
During the watch, I figured might as well use it anyways. It was going to expire. These things, unfortunately, I don't add preservatives, all organic. So they only last for one turning.
How did you miss that?
I was really focused.
Good.
Cackler just turns and looks at you and just says, "Unfortunate," and walks away.
I wanted to give it to him, but I felt like that would add insult to injury. If he gets a taste of what he wants, maybe it'll be worse than if he hadn't gotten it at all.
It's better to have loved a loss than to have never loved at all.
That's true.
Is that true though?
Better fly for 1 minute than never fly at all.
I
We-
mean, you
that-
can jump off something.
That
fly for a little bit.
mysterious structure won't appear to us on its own, so let's get on the road.
You could throw him like you threw that other kangaroo. That was like mine.
That guy got some distance.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I cast enlarge on you. You throw the cackler.
Boss says no. He says from that, like without turning around, he's just like walking down the street.
Put a like little paragliding sail on
Oh
my gosh.
Paper airplane.
All right, Nate. We know what's happening to your character when you're gone.
Oh
In any case, who's taking point on this travel?
Maybe a rhinoceros.
Are we getting this? Okay. Are we getting the same like stuff? There was some spellcasting preparations previously. Are you re-upping those?
Yeah, so every morning when we leave, because it's an 8-hour spell, 8 on me, Flo, and Cackler, and then Vigilant Blessing on Slate, though it doesn't go away until it's used, so technically you still have it. But
Okay. And you're burning the necessary slot?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then in that are you doing mage armor?
Yeah.
Myra.
Renostus, you said you wanted to take point.
Yeah, so he's got his staff he's using as a walking stick, just humming along. Bee is buzzing. Sometimes we'll stop on the plant, sometimes we'll go to some grass on the edge. But, perception?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I did look it up, by the way. When we started this session, it would have been the 14th turning.
14. Okay.
So we should be right around... but now we're actually at 16.
16. Okay. I think I have
Because of the
written
gap.
down 17.
Because of the gap plus
But
what we
I-
just had.
Okay.
So.
18.
18. Yeah, so it's a pretty hilly area that kind of breaks away into a valley. You're noticing definitely more signs of that like tramping troop through this space, and on the horizon, maybe it's a more or less uneventful day. Did anyone want to do anything else while you guys were traveling or anything like that? I'll get to what you guys see in just a second, but if people want to just like have their nose in books or working on stuff on the road or whatever, like you can still do some stuff like that, so we can get to that if you have any more information. Just
Maybe anyone who's not taking point, anyone interested in thumbing through this frog book that I got?
And that's Kekla?
I'll wait for when Nate's here in that case.
Yes. I'll kind of walk by Anika and kind of bump her arm thanks for the gloves and keep going. And I'm reading my Shade Reach book or trying to with my sun
Trying to learn about
hat
frogs. Stop distracting me.
Okay,
And she'll bump him back.
okay. Yeah, I mean, you get some basic information. The Frog Whisperer by Caesar Milando. It's written by
Why that didn't click
the
in
famed,
for me.
yeah, thank you, the famed forest gnome Caesar Milando, who lived amongst and learned to train and work with various species of frog. In particular, he gained a great partnership with the Amphithal, a species of modestly intelligent giant frogs that live in the forests of Umara. He claims that they have a language unto their own, and indicates that they pay particular attention to posture and body language. So that's kind of what you're gleaning there. Shaded Reach, carrying on where you were, many cities and areas such as Featherton, Landerhall, Shalheim, and Ciravel belonged to disparate peoples native to Sanctus before the Dwarvians extended their reach into the area. These were numerous and often considered primitive tribes. Most notable in exception are the mountain dwarven clans of Shalheim and Nirwal, the Vianthans and the Centaur tribes that founded Landerhall, and the fated tribes of the Winged Men who set roots in Featherton. Indeed. So that's kind of what you're getting there as you guys are going along. After 2/3 of the day's travel, of the turning's travel, on the horizon, Renostus, you're seeing something rather unusual. A shape in the distance that almost looks like a series of curled fingers reaching up and out of the earth. This matches sort of the description of what you were seeing before. All around, there is little to the landscape but hills and grasses, the occasional trio or so of trees. But getting closer, the light of Sol's neighboring band of sun fades somewhat into an early golden hour. Into this new light, it is in this new light that you see what lies ahead. The ruins of what must have once been a rather prolific town or chain of villages, scarred and devastated, but never reclaimed fully by nature. For all throughout the rock and the scattered rock and ruins are spears of dark and jutting ice, huge, ranging in color from deep navy, dark purple, and mostly black. The ice columns are sharp and enormous, from 20 feet to as much as 60 feet tall, and nearly twice that around at the base. They spring up from almost like blackened icy craters, and they are like spearing out all throughout this region that you're viewing. A strange play of Sol's light can be seen by the ice, gleaming off the space, but also seeming to fade rather than refract as it should, and it strikes somewhat translucent lances of cold. They spread out in a field, covering at least a half mile in each direction from the center of the ruined town. Go ahead and make a history check.
History check.
I'll also allow...
I'm proficient at it.
Sure, if anyone who's proficient can make a history check.
Yes.
Yay!
Okay? Not your area of expertise.
We're not great, guys. Come on, Slate. The guy who can't remember anything suddenly remembers.
I'm just
not gonna be
really
great.
into the Frog Whisperer book.
It's not really my memories.
It's jiving. It's a jiving read.
It's a jiving read.
Late jumping for joy.
You got a 1, you got a 4?
I got that for a total of, I'm sorry, it was history, it was going to be 9.
Okay.
10.
Okay.
18.
Okay. So memory springs out of the vague fog that is your mind's vault. And you sort of get this scene overlaid for you and begin recalling pieces of disparate research books that you're seeing, like page by page floating in your mind's eye, as well as like scenes directly looking down on the situation as it had happened. But they're very vague and you're not really able to get a full picture, but you are able to enough recall this situation. These are the ice spears that make up the Frost Spine Garden, which has existed since the Battle of Black Ice during the Second Sancturian War in 362 AC. It's been around for a while. Maybe just you Solnians who haven't gone much farther out of Solny haven't really gotten to that point. Tennille, you might have crossed it once perhaps in long ago, but it did not immediately jive with you. It's been a long time. The ice has remained ever since, never melting despite years in direct sunlight. So,
The slate tell us this.
Yeah, guys, this is kind of wild. This is the side of...
Riveting.
he relays the information.
Unlike this book, which is of course riveting.
Oh my gosh!
Why are you so good at that?
Where's my D4? We all take 1 psychic damage.
In real life, pros are characters.
Yeah. Rough. So that sort of extends, and you're heading right to it.
Okay.
But the road does take a bend away from it. It looks like it's been rebuilt in this region to veer away from it, but there is an older ruined road that leads straight to this, that veers away a little bit. It's not too far off to the west from where the road bends. So the road's beginning to bend towards the southeast, and you would deviate slightly to the west, but it's less than a half mile. Like, you're seeing some of the spears, a few hundred feet off the road. Like, it's not too far away.
We indulge an old man's curiosity and do a little bit of sightseeing.
Do you remember anything about how dangerous it
Would
is?
my mind friend know anything about how dangerous this was?
You do not recall anything in particular that indicated this was a severely dangerous situation. It's remained for a long time. Local legend states that it's haunted of some kind, since no one has ever been able to reset. No one, not no one's never been able to, but no one has ever bothered to or tried to resettle this area. Given its, a bit of a. This is too cheery music for such a scene. Given its situation, like, it's fair to say that it would be hard to rebuild a settlement around this area and stuff like that. So it's kind of maybe played into that local legend of, spooky legend.
It's dangerous, but it's haunted. Haunted.
Haunted.
It might be nice for us to sit in the shade of a spear or one of the ice ones and
Ask the cards.
Oh, I like it.
It was a reasonable
Believe in the heart of the cards.
approximation of what happened when we took that road.
Yes.
I just need about 10 minutes, so I'll just plop down, crisscross applesauce in the middle of the road, pull out my terror attack, and take 10 minutes to cast Augury.
While he's
Okay.
doing this, Netka's gonna, whatever captive on it, maybe all 3 of them, whoever stays, it's like, well, of course you wouldn't think frogs have a connection with knitting, but you're wrong. So,
The cackler is listening with rapt attention.
so of course, sometimes when you knit, you make mistakes, and sometimes you need to take a needle out, and you do something called frogging. Of course, frogging means where you rip it. This is an actual thing in real life.
I feel like I should be upset.
Megan?
And I am.
You have been given a terrible gift.
She is like the pact of the pun warlock.
Delightful and horrifying.
In fairness, frogging is an actual real thing.
No, it is, but
And that is legitimately the reason.
I saw where you were going.
Oh my
and-
Wow. Well, as we all recover from that, I mean, wow, that's on point for the punning. I'll give you that. I'll give you inspiration. I don't want to, but I have to. I feel like I have to. It's reluctant, but I have to.
You do have to behavior.
Tennille, you cast augury.
Yeah, and I'm looking to see is
I have to get everything.
is it a
back on the
safe?
heels.
Is going into the Icefine Garden, Frostfine Garden safe?
You yield a card that is the what is it? It would be a card that says that it writes or that reads, excuse me, new friend,
New friend.
and you get the wheel result.
Okay.
What does the heart of the cards tell you?
I'll show them the card. New friend.
Oh.
Do you think the icebox will be our friends?
If we try hard enough, maybe.
They're big and magical.
Hey, look. We could. Maybe there's one of those giant frogs. Apparently, if you use the right body posture, we could even get a pet giant frog.
Was there a diagram showing you the right body posture?
Was there a diagram showing me the right body posture?
There were more verbal descriptions,
Yes, verbal descriptions.
or sorry, more textual descriptions, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah. You put. So you have to stand up straight, good posture. They very much, but you have to kind of lean and bow to show that they're the dominant frog, of course.
Of course.
And you need
Gotta
to
establish
very
the
I'm the subordinate frog?
yes, and you have to kind of make yourself small. Don't look them directly in the eye. Slow blink. This might be about big. Is that the frogs? So it was the book on big cats I read earlier.
I'm just gonna like
somewhere.
grab anyone who doesn't look to be listening to her and just kind of like pull them towards her.
Where are you going?
Is wholeheartedly practicing this with the ninja.
So you, the two of you, leaning forward heavily and not making eye contact, slow blinking, are behind the rest of the group. But Tennille, go ahead and make a perception check. We'll just call it a straight
never
roll.
turn your back.
Because you got
never,
buds
ever turn your back.
to help you around.
It's a 13.
13, yeah. So you carry on a little bit further on in exploring the space. You're getting, like I said, the sense of what would have been a rather prolific town, but just decay over time has taken most of it. Most of the buildings seem to have been built largely in stone. The thatched roofs and stuff like that have gone, and some of them are sort of in framework space. Some of the buildings were possibly built in wood, the timber's rotted, that kind of stuff. This is over 60 years ago. But exploring the space, you realize you are not alone. As you are looking around, you see 5 individuals, all wearing a black tabard with a silver pentagon on their chest. They each have notebooks and journals around, and they're looking around and jotting down notes as they do that. And one individual, a human, seems to be bearing a familiar-looking emerald and golden stone. He's touching it to the various spires and gleaning little notes and taking notes along it. And he kind of hears you guys' interesting approach. And this individual turns. He's a rather handsome-looking guy. He's got a bit of a goatee, sort of an auburn reddish hair with a streak of white. He's got bright green eyes, and he's wearing sort of under his tabard is wearing some sort of like flanged shoulder, like got a little shoulder flare going. Got like a little half cloak. He's got a lute strung over his back, and he's got a pair of what look like long knives or short or very short blades at his hips, and he just says, "Ah, hello, fellow travelers on the road, interested in seeing the sights, I see. I am happy to run you through what what we're willing to share, of course. Friendly competition isn't so bad, after all, in this Lore Bright program. Allow me to introduce myself. Everyone, come, let's meet our new friends, if ye be. I assure you, we mean you no harm. I myself am Trentus Tress of the Trogalungatans. and he kind of gestures to, and like a very Vanna White kind of gesture to all the people behind him. He's got a very white smile.
What's your group name again? Sorry.
Trovalengatins. And he introduces each individual sort of with a little flair or flourish. He points to, or gestures to, a dark-skinned individual with pure silver eyes and sort of a dreadlock-style braid in very nice-looking armor. This is the brave and powerful Blessed Ovalia Estarel. And she kind of gives like a very formal, stiff-looking bow that kind of creaks her armor a little bit. There's a male high elf, gloriously blue eyes and starlight silver hair coming back. He's wearing a sort of like purple coat, almost, with little like rocks chained to it and dangling off of it. He seems to be the guy who's got he's got belted clothes and scrolls and stuff stuffed into his robes. He's got a big, thick book that he's writing in rather than just like a little note journal. This is the wise and clever Lenathan Idromlis. And then he gestures to the next individual in line, and they're all kind of giving the like, "Oh yes, hello, pleased to meet you." Ovalia just nodded. She seems kind of shy. A very tall-looking half-orc, kind of done in wearing sort of purples and navies and stuff like that, more as like belts and like a crisscrossing of harnesses rather than a actual full armor. He's got an enormous looking axe like over his back, and he's got in his like a puny little writing journal that he's like got a tiny piece of charcoal that he's making big little drawings on. This is the courageous, brave, and loyal Garadun Kokran, and he kind of gestures to him. And he says, "Pleasure." And he's looking at Slate. "Fellow big one, huh?"
I see you are also big boy. I'm a big boy myself.
He's tall. He's about Renostus's height, like 7'4", 7'5". So you still are foot and a half taller. Trentus says, "And last, but certainly not least, the kind, the gentle, the powerful Tintara Sunsmile," and he gestures to a sort of chunkier, muscular-looking, plate armor-wearing blue tiefling, whose horns kind of curl back around her ears, almost in like a ram's horn style. And she says, "Oh, well, I mean, I do my best." And he says, "I, of course, am Trentus Tress, and am the voice, if not leader, of the Trogalengatins here, fellow Lorebright enrolled adventurers. Don't worry, we've already collected all the good Lorebright to be found here in this site. But I'm happy to see some other curious individuals looking to stop and see the sites. We ourselves pride our group in our reputation of delving and unraveling various local lore, local legends, histories, things that be delved further that have gone overlooked too long until this lovely, and he kind of gestures in the sun, the Lorebright's down, this lovely sphere of encouragement and knowledge has brought us out to these new locales. And what brings you here? Are you merely passing through or stopping for a particular destination?"
Tail is completely by this
Well, we're looking for maybe a quiet spot to rest. We've also collected quite a bit of Lorebright. Have you guys done any work into the flickers, or are you just, trouncing around different historic sites?
Well, trouncing makes it seem so flamboyant. We are doing diligent research, my friend. However, I would say that we have avoided most of the flicker issues. Not really our nature to get entangled into the political derivatives that seem to be occurring here and there around such events. In any case, I myself find the local memories of those fallen and gone past most interesting, and I have successfully been able to commune with many of those who fell at this location, and we were rather effective, if I say so myself, able to banish and pass on those ghostly apparitions that stayed in this locale. In any case, we were further researching the nature of this ice and such things. If you're looking for a shaded place to stay, I mean, the ruins are accommodating, I suppose. They're no, shrine of Alito or lovely inn bed, but I suppose we make do as we travelers do.
Insight check his comment about the banished spirits.
Okay, go ahead and make an insight check.
That's a 16 plus 6, so 22.
He is super confident.
Super confident, okay.
So it's no longer haunted.
Haunted's a strong term. I mean, we ourselves in the spirit understanding business like to say impressed upon by memories past. And I would say that those memories have found their rest now.
Nick kind of kicks a small pebble. Sorry.
Or my foot.
Nick kicks Slate.
Slate refers to his toes as pebbles.
Cannon.
They're rocks thick.
That's the little toe is a pebble. Yeah.
Have you engaged in any of these flicker events? It sounds like you were interested in them.
Yes, we were in Bright Meadow and helped evacuate a lot of the people out there.
Tina, Sunsmile, she goes by Tina for short. She kind of steps up. Oh, well, that is so kind and good of you. I'm really happy to hear that there are people, during these times who are willing to help those who are having such a hard time. And Garadulum's like, yeah, whatever. And kind of just like trusts off to continue lifting up little different rocks and uncovering different things using his strength. Oh, don't mind him. He's not what we would call a people person. Former desk devil, kind of relearning how to integrate back into a different society. But as Tina mentioned, I mean, that is quite brave and kind of you to have done that. I myself prefer to, I wouldn't want to risk this pretty face in something so dire. But in any case, I would say there's a fair chance that these flickers might coincide with our interests, and I hope that perhaps one day we can work together, all together,
Hey, you guys
Keep in
seem
touch,
really
that sort
well
of thing?
put together.
Oh, well, I mean, that just goes without saying. Once you get the rhythm of understanding and experiencing these different local sites, you really gain a lot of understanding and adaptability, and Lenathan just sort of snorts and says, yeah, you adapted right well with those ghosts over there. And he's like, we got out of it unscathed more or less in the end.
Where did you see these ghosts?
Well, they were here in this area. You may not have heard or known, but this area was once considered haunted. Like I said, or we prefer in the biz. Impressed upon by those memories. But we've shuffled them along.
How did you manage to do that?
Oh, well, with my natural charms, of course, and a few assistants, skilled assistants. He kind of gestures, and Lenathan's like, ha! He continues just like writing notes furiously in his book. It looks like he's looking to each of you and like writing notes on your guys' maybe appearance or stuff like that. He seems to be documenting.
Should we pose?
And Trentus is sort of like, I have attended a rather unusual organization that is about edification and education around communication with those who have not found their rest, or those who have gone beyond the veil.
I never thought of being a politician.
Oh, no, heavens no, I don't like shaking hands.
So, the spirits, what did they have? What did they say to you?
Well, I would say that this area was a site of a battle you may or may not know, the Battle of Black Ice during the Second Sancturian War. Such sites, particularly ones with large impacts, as you can see here, can leave poor souls and their memories unsatisfied or even vengeful. And I take pride in being able to help ease that painful memory. So I would more or less that's what we have come across.
You said the bigger guy that is orc or
Half orc, yeah.
In Orcish, and that kind of get his attention. He's a lot, isn't he?
He kind of looks to you for a second and kind of, as if seeing you for the first time, he is quite a talker. Talkers make me thirsty. And he kind of for you, little sister.
Take a sip because she knows this is probably a little.
It's sharp. Whatever it is, some sort of like grog or something.
That's
like you have to. It's like a both very sharp and like you have to chew it going down kind of situation.
Like fermented something.
Yeah.
Quite. Still, this is still not quite the drink. Pompous and honest, or should we not trust him?
6 of one, half a dozen of another. But he's a good sort, more or less. And kind of. Where are you bound?
But further south, investigating some of the troubles there.
In Orc, Trentus whirls around. Oh, you're heading south, are you? Well, let me tell you, and thank you for the compliment, my good sir. Let me just tell you, while you're on your way down south, I would just urge you caution. The roads, of course, as you know, worsening over time. My kinsmen, fewer and farther between, unfortunate. But we also saw a large column of mirror blades traveling to Lunavir as these tensions seem to worsen. Monsters, beasts, bandits, and, unfortunately, greedy parties have been coming out of the woodwork and ambushing those who wish to make their safe way on the roads. Truly terrible thing, really. I frown on such behavior for sure. But I would also say that some sort of strange disease is said to have gripped the lands near Landerhall. Many of those who have been able to speak with have steered clear of that area. Flywatch to you northerners, perhaps.
By chance, is this disease people thinking they're animals?
That's an unusually specific question. No, as a matter of fact, to my knowledge, it is not. Although I haven't really spoken with anyone. Just rumors, you know. I deal in rumors, as most road folk do. The details and bones of their story does not seem to. It leaves some to be lacking. You know, more chicken bone than beef.
Well, we've met people that think they're beef. Yeah.
That is an unusual situation.
And then there was that. Feels like it's been a while, but it really hasn't. You know, everything with Vanessa, and any what was she? It's been a while. Like
Flicker mad.
Trying
to kill you, almost undead, unholy, certainly.
Well, I would say that we've not had too many personal confrontations. We try to avoid those kind of things. It's not really my skill set, I would say. And he kind of gestures to a few of his more well-armed and armored friends. And both Ovalia, the dark-skinned, silver-eyed individual, and Tina, the tiefling, both stand up and sort of say, well, I would say it is good that you have aided where you can, but we have yet to come across something that you are describing. It sounds like this might be something of these flickers affecting individuals on a personal level. Of that I have heard, and in fact, if we can drag this one away from all of the local sites, I would be interested in helping with such a situation myself. And Tina kind of adds to that. Yes, I as well would like. I think everyone, even in the darkest hours, can try and find their way back to the light. I would love to be able to help with something like that. Oh, we'll get there, I'm sure. But in any case, as I said, I myself have not personally had any direct confrontation with such an individual, of course. I usually resolve things with words, and the mad don't usually like my words. It's a shame.
Mad? Just kind of a little under breath.
Oh, of course, only the mad. Who else would not? In any case, all I will say is that Lenathan here has assured me that we've gathered most of the information that we can from the local lore and investigations, so I believe we'll be moving on. Some other sites we'd like to see, other destinations, road-bound, and frankly, we're getting a little too close to the borders myself, for my personal preference at least. So I believe we might be carrying on. We won't want to keep you. But if you would like, the old shell of the inn provides reasonable shelter should any rain come by. Although, now that I think about it, we haven't had much since that passed through a few turnings ago. So, troubling tides, of course. Is there anything else that I might be able to assist you with my lovely library of charming knowledge?
Where have you been this far since starting the More Bright program? And is that, I presume that's how you all met, or have you been partying together?
Oh, we have been partying together. But we have been a group not long before. Ovalia and Tina were sort of aiding a few various small folk who were being bullied by local robber baron. It doesn't matter. In any case, yes, we have not been much longer together than the Lore Bright program. This was one of my first stops. As I said, this is our second trip, in fact. We gained some initial information, followed up our research, and returned to this site. We also did a little bit of research. Well, you don't need to know about all of it, but in any case, there's been a few other locations. I would like to go to Featherton, but it seems like that's a little bit of a troubled journey, making all the way across the Aluma Desert during this time. At any case, there is a few sites that we've seen, a few unusual trips we've taken. We did get to enjoy quite a few of the lovely wall murals, even a true Brashowski on the walls of Lunavir, known for its art as it is. And we did make a quick trip up into some of the cities around Umara. If you let me see the map really quick. Actually, I have this one here. It should show. We made our way up all the way to the city of Sekert, a little bit farther north beyond the borders, and enjoyed some of the old statuary there. So a few more lore-gathering missions. As the name implies, it has been quite interesting. But as I said, our next destination, once things have settled down and we feel a little bit more comfortable or confident, we might make our way to Featherton. Supposedly, there have been some rather strange sightings there, both for good and ill, so it might be nice to unravel the mysteries beneath them.
Interesting.
I thought so.
Yes, have you ever heard anything or confrontations with the Caravan Breaker, also known as the Vulture?
I have heard of this one. He's not well loved among my folk, but I have not had any direct confrontations. They say he originates from the regions of the Sanctarian Barrier, not far from Featherton itself. However, I believe he came up this way for some time, and has not been seen in that region since. I do not know where his current location is.
It's a bit further north. If you're ever in the area, I don't know where he is now. We encountered him on the road to Bright Meadow. Watch the skies. We managed to somehow all survive, but normally his MO is killing everyone but one person, branding them. So I would recommend avoiding him if you cannot outright kill him.
Ah, yes. Well, I prefer a different kind of branding. Any kind of pulls at his tabard. But I appreciate the warning. I wouldn't be too worried, though. Our good friend here, Lenathan, knows a thing or two of how to bring a flyer down, and kind of nudges him. He's like, don't tell them. But in any case, as I said, I wouldn't want to disturb your rest. We might as well be shuffling on to our next destination. I believe we'll be making a quick trip back to restock, perhaps, at Shimmerleaf. Got some friends and local contacts there before making our way down to the Featherton side of things. Yeah. I would really like to see that, and we might, and he kind of turns back to Ovalia, excuse me, we might be able to even come across some flickered folk for you to come and help by. That would be a nice change.
So, before you guys do, shuffle on, in your travels, you ever come across like a town and or a city with like some like basalt columns in it? Maybe that's what the towns were made, or the buildings were made from. You ever seen like the lighthouses in Solney?
Yes, I know of them.
So like that, but not Solney. And like basalt columns and such.
I don't know anything of what you're saying.
Worth a shot. Alright.
You said you occasionally go to restock. Presumably you go to restock your general supplies in Solney as well. The pointed luck charm.
On occasion, although as we try to make those trips worthwhile, paying the gate tax and all. So we usually gather up as much lore brights, as much other information as we can, tools and things to sell, before we're ready, of course, to make a deposit.
They might need to restock their general supplies at a general store, Renostus.
I hate to tell you this, but I don't think Tristafan will be paying out.
Oh, Tristafan! Lovely singing voice, but a stage fright. But when you really get it out of him, he's got a great tenor. In any case, I would say he's a sucker for the ladies, though. In any case, we've actually worked a little bit with him. He's a sporting fellow. We like to support the smaller up and coming folk. Not that we have anything against the larger established businesses. They do tend to get better rates, so we split our ways evenly.
Well, if you would like to bring down your rate, perhaps maybe tell Tristafan that the Artifices sent you.
The Artifices? Is that your registered lawbright name?
It is not. It is me and my compatriot here, our brand, if you would say.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. I will make a note of that. And he kind of gestures over his shoulder. And Lenathan's like, already good.
Yes, the rest of us are the Beewildered. Not spelled like bewildered, but spelled like bee, like the animal.
And
like
the buzzing around.
Like that. And bloody. I said animal. They are a type of animal.
It's like what
Oh, honey. We'll talk a lot about bees in excruciating detail later.
Oh no.
Lenathan's like, got it.
Could you just to entertain an old man's curiosity? Would you describe how your battle with these? I'm assuming battle. It seems like you had a more forceful interaction with these spirits.
Yeah, I'll say.
Could you describe that to me? I've always been so curious.
Well, I would say I was able to smooth things over in the end, calm them down, and let them send them on their way. But it did take a little bit of extra of muscle and magic that were provided by my kind and skilled friends here. Lenathan certainly, showed himself, made a good showing of himself with his, particular unusual brand of magic, maybe you say. And Lenathan's like, all right, that's enough, Trentus. You don't have to give him all the whole deal. And kind of shushing him a little.
Oh, definitely don't feel compelled to overshare.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it was a distinct pleasure meeting all of you. Aside from your Lorbright name, do you have calling names that you might be able to share with us, as we gave you ours?
I'll introduce myself.
Natka.
Renostus.
Flo.
Was it Thrustbreak? No, it was Slate. My name's Slate.
Cactuar just leans over toward you for a second and then leans in. He's still looking like a normal, bland humanoid. And he's just like, Thrustbrick? Trent sort of looks for a second.
Yeah, we don't know either.
Yeah, he's a tall guy.
Unassuming looking man. Love the name. I gotta remember that one. Maybe there's a good, some rhyming potential there. In any case, good day to all of you. Bewildered and careful not to get too bloodied.
Same to you.
Happy turning, happy travels. And he kind of does a sweeping bow, and he pulls like a obscenely feathered hat out of kind of seemingly out of nowhere, and just like
I'm jealous of this hat.
and just sort of trots off with the sort of brash overconfidence that only a bard can truly have.
Right.
And the Trevelungatons depart sort of along the road that you guys had been traveling in the opposite direction, though. So you're here in the Frostspire Garden, now alone. It's a chilly place just by virtue of like the shade that the ice spires provide is colder than what would naturally warrant.
Okay.
But otherwise, you get the direct Solnian sun, so you even if it's a little bit farther south from Solni itself, so you can maybe oscillate between the two, like nice cool shade of wet grass on a sunny, hot summer's day, and then the nice direct sun when you feel like warming up a bit. But it's definitely a combination for sure that is a little incongruous for this part of the world.
So there's definitely still ghosts there, right?
Absolutely. They did not seem competent.
I would like to stay a while maybe and see these ghosts.
Yeah.
Well,
Want to see ghosts?
he recommended the inn.
Yeah. Ooh. And, if a ghost might like it to stay in an inn too. I don't really know
Is
ghosts.
there a gathering place for people, high energy? Maybe that can attract something for supernatural forces. I'm not a ghost person. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd be okay not seeing ghosts.
But we get to talk to ghosts. Maybe they know a lot about history.
And the more bright, it could mean more money.
More money.
Have we tried touching on
Specifically in Cackler's voice, in Renastus' voice.
I have
I'm
not tried, but I will assume. They said they got all the good stuff, but I'll go ahead and try touching the stone to one of the ice pillars.
Indeed, it sort of gives you that like beep beep flash.
Busy signal.
Yeah.
Can I touch one of the big ice spires?
Yeah, it is extremely cold, and your skin kind of erupts in pins and needles all the way up to the elbow. Just as like the instant that your fingers touch it. It is severe, and you actually
Oh no.
take 1 point of cold damage.
You just nod.
It's frosty.
Yeah, and you can see his skin like has turned blue and is like receding instantly as he pulls it away.
Maybe don't do that again, Tiny.
I wonder what would happen if you
not
put your
nice,
tongue on it.
I wouldn't.
Please don't.
Do you like that?
I wonder what would happen if you put your tongue on it.
Say that.
Oh no! Did you say something and
It's gonna have a field day.
I'm doing this for you, Nate.
I'm gonna take out my carpenter's tools and try to like chip away a little bit at one of them, see if I can
Okay.
chip any of the ice off.
You and you pull it away. It has like dented your tool.
Interesting.
So whatever this ice is, like in the years that have passed, not only has it not been frozen, it's never been cracked, shifted, chipped in any way. They're perfectly smooth columns.
Interesting.
interesting.
Annika, you should learn how to do this. It looks pretty devastating.
Great big. I mean, it does look pretty devastating. I think this is a few levels beyond me and very illegal. If
That's never stopped us.
that's never stopped us, but like I'm kind of bound to the proof, you know. I could probably get away with it in Shadvia.
Just get strong enough, but they're bound to you. Easy.
I don't think that's how it works.
That's never stopped us.
On the way, like as we've been traveling through, have we noticed obviously there's still some stone buildings, and he mentioned like the show at the inn.
Mhm.
But anything that would kind of look like maybe a temple or.
Sure. After a little bit of searching, yeah, you do find what looks like it was once a marbled floor. That would indicate some kind of temple and stuff like that. Kind of got the classic columns that are used in more fancy Solnian architecture that's lacking in some of the other spaces. Lacking in the other spaces. But
I should have done that as my old man
I'm
voice.
so glad you didn't.
but oh no, we'll get to him.
I already have one on the hit list. I don't need more.
But yes, you do find one that appears to have had one of these spires just rip right through the floor, through what would have been the roof, through the wall, and you just see like the marble frame and like the 4 curved edges of the frame that would have built like maybe like a dome-like structure. It's hard to determine over the years of age and the distortion that the ice provides what deity this would have honored.
Okay.
As we're moving around. Why so scared of ghosts, Flip?
Why aren't you scared of ghosts?
I mean, sure, they can attack you, but we've literally just fought a tree a turning or two ago. And 7 heads.
Yeah, but those were like formed structures. Ghosts just wander and go wherever they want. She's like
Like
looking
cats.
over her shoulder.
Incorporeality.
Corporal.
Incorporeality.
Loyalty.
ETHE real, as our friend Joe would say.
So, I mean, I don't know what you can do with your shooty stick thingy, but,
I think it's called a gun.
is it?
Those exist.
Do
Not
they?
like theirs, but
If you want to be specific.
Not that you would have seen.
No.
does this not exist? I thought, like,
Not Slate, and in fact, actually does know what one looks like, and the word comes to rather easily. Anetka has never seen one before.
is this another tree situation? Another forest? A goon?
A gun? I've never heard of this type of weapon. Do you know where you know it from?
No. I think.
Anyone else heard of a gun?
Have we heard of guns?
Rhinoceros would have.
Yeah, it's a gun. It's a projectile launcher.
Yes, a shooty stick thing.
And Ren, actually, you would have noticed when you were first examining Flo's pistol, a modified version of your design of something called a flash chit.
Flash chit?
Yeah, 2 words. Was present as a part of the firing mechanism. Not that you necessarily have to share that, but you would have recognized that at the time. So, are you guys kind of bedding down for the end of the turning here, or are you going to shuffle on like they did?
Didn't we just, like, wake up and then
This
come
was
right
like
here?
2/3.
Sorry, yeah, just to clarify, like I skipped over portions of the journey that were just safe on the road, no events happening. You know, you rolled over hills and forest, you know, not past forests, but past trees and, you know, valleys.
We tied.
But yeah, this is towards the end of the turning.
Okay.
I mean, it's nice, it's shaded, it's cold.
Maybe we could go find that inn.
Yeah.
Sleep in the inn.
Yes, wouldn't even have to pay gold for it.
Wonder if they have hot soup.
Maybe the ghost chefs. Ghosts of the chefs, and they just make ghostly hot soup. That sounds quite lovely.
With us panic, telling ourselves everything's okay. We're gonna sleep in the haunted city.
Let's go check it out. And maybe-
Anyone need like an extra sweater or scarf? I know we don't all dress in the cold living where we are.
Oh, I would love a nice cardigan if you have one available.
Yeah, it's way too small because she messed up like maybe Bria's size occasionally, but you know, you're 7 feet tall. It's
Might be hard to do potions from this position, but
Lap blanket.
Maybe I'll put it like the preppy boy style, which
do
is
you
the
just
tennis
want a
dad.
shawl instead.
I think this looks looks very distinguished. Thank you. It will keep my shoulders nice and warm.
Anyone else? I've got shawls, I've got scarves, I've got socks.
Imagine I'm pretty good because I'm.
Cackler just like pulls his cloak of protection around him and like puts up the hood.
Is he still wearing his mask?
He's taken it off by now.
No,
I mean,
no.
he's well. Actually, knowing him, he's still wearing it, but it's now just like a plague doctor mask over his beak. It's the magical effect has worn off over the time of the period.
That checks out.
So shall we?
Let's shall.
Let's shall.
Let's shall. You guys walk into what you presume was the old inn building. It looks like it had a big stone like fire pit in the middle, and you see some like burning embers just like there amongst the coals and the grating, and 6 nice hot bowls of steaming liquid are just there on the edge of that fire pit. There, each with a little spoon.
I was
Really polite.
joking about the ghost chef. I'd like to spend 10 minutes casting detect magic over the bowls.
Flo's gonna stop in the doorway and be like, "No," and not come any further inside.
Okay. You cast detect magic.
Yeah,
You definitely.
virtually.
Yeah. You definitely. It is non-magical soup. In the bowls and stuff like that. The area is thick with a huge. Okay, so there's 2 things that you're getting. One is in the immediate vicinity. You're getting just the residue of necromantic magic, but it doesn't seem as stained and sickening as maybe that you might have imagined if it was something that was being done in a nefarious purpose. Your intuition kind of brings you out to the further spaces where you're getting closer to some of these spires of ice, and not only are they magical, but something vast and dark was involved in the development of whatever wrought these out from the earth. Something vast beyond mortal comprehension, something deep and deadly and reeking in evocation, necromantic, and both a combination of divine and arcane magic in a truly nightmarish kind of way. Put simply, it's astounding that even a group of mortals would be able to attain something like this. You're not sure how anyone would have done it. Now you're curious to know maybe what the Trovalengatans maybe found out about how it happened, or you're curious yourself maybe to research. I don't want to speak too far for you, but certainly that is like how on earth did anyone achieve this?
So she's clutching her necklace with the symbol of the 2 hands doing weaving in one hand and her head with the other. And she heads back to the group. Slate, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do that. That is...
That's quite a talk.
No, like, that is... I don't know if it was the gods themselves, but it might have been.
were mortal at some point. Come on.
I don't think I want to ascend to godhood, but I'm glad you believe in me.
Well, that's quitter talk.
Saint Indica, the woolly.
The
Inside the inn, I'm gonna kind of like look around and
Oh, the soup is non-magical, by the way. Could be poisoned
Done.
otherwise.
settle down in front of the
Slate's going.
near the soup and just kind of whisper, "Hi, ghosts. Thank you."
one moment. Just an old man can never be too sure. And I'll eat it.
That's quitter talk.
No, it's
Thank you for the food.
cautious talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's simple, delicious, and quite warm.
I'm gonna take out of my jacket pocket. I'll have like what you see when there's little insects that are mounted, and it's a butterfly. I'll open it up, take the butterfly, and like kind of crumble the dust into everyone else's bowls of soup. You won't even taste it. It will barely add any flavor to the soup at all. But I will cast purify food and drink.
Aw, that's great. I love that.
I'm so glad that I could use that spell.
Aw, I love that description too. That's great.
I don't have it prepared today.
Yeah, you feel confident that you have cleansed them in a mundane fashion.
If you would have
As well.
waited, I would have taken.
I didn't know to season them. I would have waited.
I'll start eating my soup.
Yeah, I'll just.
What's Flo doing? You just said you weren't entering any further.
Still the doorway.
Do you want some ghost soup?
I purified it.
You purified it.
Slate's done eating, so we'll grab a bowl and walk out to her.
I'm gonna like sniff it. Like dip a finger in it and like lick at my finger.
Appears like normal soup, like some kind of broth. Simple.
She'll take one tiny sip and evaluate to see if she's gonna drink more.
It's tasty. It's warm. Basic but well seasoned.
With butterfly.
Okay, fine. And she'll
See
chug the
like
whole
a little
thing.
antenna.
She's like, don't think about it, don't think about it.
Like,
She's gonna chug it as fast as she can so she can just like forget about it.
Yeah. So y'all get, don't have to eat a ration for today's food. Cackler is casting firebolt at the ice regularly and just psh, 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 psh. They're just like dissolving
Very on point.
as he's attempting, but just sort of, every now and then just psh, psh,
I need a hot floss. I think I have a wing stuck in my teeth.
You want me to take the bowls to the kitchen?
Yeah, yes, please. That would be great.
Go around, grab your little
I
bowls.
think that you might be the most likely person
do the washing up.
boss in our
Yeah.
party with all the fibers that you work with.
True. I guess I can spin my own floss.
Nope, don't like the idea of woolen floss.
Gotta keep your teeth clean somehow.
Don't like that. Don't like that one bit.
I'd like to spend a little time getting the fire going, and I'll put a kettle on for it and pour everybody. I imagine I have brewer supplies, so I imagine that would include cups for everybody.
Yeah.
I probably have several cups.
Sure.
And I'll pour some tea for everybody, and I'll leave one extra cup for our ghosty friend as a way of saying thank you.
Like, as we're settling in and kind of, like, Renasus is making the tea, I wanted to cast, see invisibility.
Okay.
And just kind of look around the inside of the inn and maybe poke my head out and just kind of, I don't know, maybe I would see some ghosts.
Okay. You see very pale, very barely visible, very etheric. They're standing in the relatively northern light of this part of the world, in this part of the continent, and a little girl, clearly ghostly in form. And she's just got her hands like clasped in front of her, little pigtails swaying to wind that isn't really there, and just sort of gives a little like, and just like skips off amidst the ice, like skipping among them, and you see her like climb up one and slide down it.
Oh.
I'll nod at her and do my best to make sure Flo doesn't know what I just saw.
You come back stone cold.
Like the ice.
I will write though like a little note, or actually I'll kind of like poke at the cackling. Like, can I borrow your slate?
I'll look over. What?
You're writing your little chalkboard. Thank you. And
No.
oh. Screw you. I'm just gonna go over and and just like sidle up to him and just very like quietly whisper, "There are definitely ghosts here."
How do you know that?
Because I can say them.
Oh, I thought it was the soup.
Just sipping.
Do you want to talk about it?
There was a spell and I saw a little girl.
Was she kind?
She was happy. She's playing.
This is Ghost Story Telephone.
I need to tell you two things. One, Tennille sees dead people.
Makes sense.
And two, She saw a little ghost girl who was friendly. Oh, 3 things. And third, don't tell Flo. Pass it on.
I'll do my little hand gesture. I'll do my hand gesture to double message to these two.
Okay. No, I mean they're whispering and stuff, and but that's not too,
And I'll say, Daniel sees dead people. And then just stop.
And Echo pull out her finger knitting message to Neil. You see dead people? Question mark?
And like, look at Renatus, what? And then
Just sit.
It's like just doing dishes.
he's sipping his tea.
I'll respond with, I cast a spell. What?
A spell called See Dead People?
Cackler writes on his slate. I didn't cast anything, but I see dead people too.
No, I can see invisible things sometimes.
He just like takes a talon and just like taps your shoulder,
Yeah? What's up, Chirps?
just like in a comforting like.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're in a safe space.
I mean, the whole party did hear Tennille like confess to Renatus about the people, his spirit friends that he sees the other night, so.
I think Tennille might have something that he would like to
This has turned into Neil therapy session. She just wanted to check to see if there were invisible threats.
Neil, it's okay. We're friends.
What in the hell is happening right now?
Healing.
Dead people, apparently.
You saw dead people?
Damn it, Grandpa!
we have to share with the team.
Aren't we all dead?
No, unless we all died like 20 years ago, we're the ones haunting this place.
Because the invisibility is concentration, I believe. So I'll pull off my gloves and my tattoos are still glowing. I cast a spell that lets me see invisible things, and
Did I
there's
not tell you that?
I don't normally see dead people.
But you see them now?
Renatus, the only thing you told me was that he sees dead people, and there's a ghost girl
I
somewhere.
apologize. I must have left that information out. So there is a. Go ahead, Tennille. Share with the group.
Damn it, I'm never telling you anything again, Grandpa. Oh my gosh.
Just for your best. I cast a spell that lets me sometimes see invisible things. I cast it when we were looking at your invisible road, but it didn't do anything then. And I looked outside, and there's a little ghost girl playing, and she seems happy and friendly, and I don't think that the spirits necessarily mean us harm.
Flo's gonna like wide-eyed like sit on the floor and hug her knees and just be like, she's gonna kill us in the night.
I don't think, and if they do get angry, I think that my magic can repel them.
You better die and hope it does.
How do you feel now that you've shared with the group?
Annoyed, Grandpa. I feel annoyed, but I had to share with the group.
I'll just refresh his tea. Now.
Is gonna pop out Mr. Mittens and kind of send him over to nudge Flo.
She's gonna like jump when he first
It's the sheep! It's the sheep! It's the sheep!
Sheep is the dead people? The monkey's his uncle?
Well, I mean, I guess if the ghosts seem friendly, I'm not against ghosts.
The soup was delicious.
The soup was delicious.
Do you have any more of that butterfly?
I do.
Can I taste it? I feel like I got left out.
I have one more spell slot.
Can I have it?
Grandpa will.
2 more for Nate. Can I taste it?
I taste it.
Can I have it?
This has been an interesting session.
I mean, it didn't go too far from where I thought it would, but the sharing has been it's been an interesting role play. You know, it's an interesting role play. Intervention, role play, mixture. You know, share with the group, Tennille.
Important. Can anyone else see dead people?
Nope.
What if we make them dead people?
I mean, then I think
can see them.
What if we make them dead people?
I'm gonna have to text him so much.
I can see dead people for about it feels like this magic has about an hour. And I have maybe another hour in me before we go.
Just like explaining how spells work to the layman.
Do you want to maybe look in the kitchen since ghosts apparently made a soup?
No, that's a good idea. So I'm gonna look in the
You
kitchen.
seemed fine today when I was doing dishes.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
but
like
you
a
can't see dead people.
there's like a pot and a stirring spoon.
But are there any ghosts?
No.
Okay. There's no one in the kitchen.
I wonder if there's more than one ghost. Because, I mean, was the little girl, like, how old was she?
How old was she?
6 or 7.
That seems I mean, she could make soup, but I feel like that's... I mean, I was stealing from people at that age, but my childhood was a little weird. It seems like you'd want adult assistance, or I don't know how ghosts work.
We could spend some time investigating the kitchen if that's what you suggest.
It's like the whole next session in
Cackler leans over. My childhood was a little weird.
Nate's gonna have too much to work with, honestly.
What have I done? What have I done?
So you guys are bedding down for the night.
Yes.
The end of the turning. What's the watch situation looking like? Same setup as last time? Did we want to mix it up? Anything people want to accomplish during their watch?
I'll go with Slate.
Okay. First watch for you two?
Sure. So, Ren, I was serious about that butterfly bit. I want to taste it. I feel really bad about it.
Very well, but you have to keep your eye out on the road for these and help me catch one.
Oh, I didn't realize you'd go through them.
That they're a consumable.
I mean, I was intending to eat it, but yes, I didn't realize it was consumable. Yeah.
Do you think I make butterflies?
Magic! I thought so, yeah. You made a bee?
I have to combine my magic with the butterfly.
You know what, I'll wait for next time. I'll hold on. I'll hold off, but thank you. I'm sorry for it.
Ren will open up his... We have to eat it all in one bite, though.
Slate will take it and eat it immediately.
I mean, it's dry, you know, and like you got just sort of like a dust that you just like cough a single like spurt of lavender butterfly dust that just like comes out of your mouth. But you know, it's not the worst thing.
I got stuck in my
It
nose.
should have cleaned your mouth very well.
Thank you. That was an experience. I agreed to go for some water though.
You want some floss?
Just dental hygiene.
Did you use that?
No, this is the... I made a lot of it. It's of the finest wool. I don't like it.
Oh my god!
Boggle. You need DFL for that.
Don't like that.
I'm not really a big fan of like hair in my mouth, but thank you.
She doesn't
So
have
who's
any cotton. She doesn't have any cotton.
So who's on second watch?
I'll go on second watch.
I'm happy to go on second watch.
And
Okay.
I'll burn another see invisibility during my watch just to see how our ghost friends are doing.
Okay, we'll get to that. And you and Cackler are on third watch.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything in particular you're doing during third watch?
I'm gonna look at my gun and go off the words he said.
Okay.
To try and see what he was talking about.
Sounds good. First watch, perception check, please. Yeah, separately, please.
12.
22?
You're really struck by the imagery, Slate, that this place, as Trentus mentioned, has some deep impressions of memory. And as you find yourself opening up to just relaxing and your mind sort of naturally opens up to the space, you're seeing, some of the vaguest impressions of what this place might have been had it continued. An inn full of roaring fires and malt beer and laughter, And then you just see it sort of crumbling to dust around you. All those sort of stories unwritten. But otherwise, nothing disturbs your vigil.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little down, I'll be honest, but you know.
Why?
And you can actually see the building and its roof like dissolving into the form that it's in now, reminding you of crumbling parchment and ink going dry and dull.
It feels like this place had some potential and it was, lost.
That seems fair. I wonder how your life would have gone if gone slightly differently.
I actually just wonder how my life went, honestly.
That's fair. Think of your life. I'm curious.
You just hear in the back of your head.
Curious of.
Some ghost.
I didn't hear it.
No,
Do you
it's
hear dead people?
Oh
No.
gosh, let's not start this.
I had a friend. Anyway, go on. Brain friend.
Right. How did you?
Great.
How did you meet Cassiel? I'm just curious. He wasn't there when I left the salt pools, and suddenly it's like, oh, Cassiel, the most beloved member of the salt pools.
I don't know, kind of wandered my way through the main gates after waking up outside and ended up tripped into the salt pools, met Cassiel, who was like, hey bud, you need a hand? And I was like, yeah man. And kind of went from there.
Huh.
Great guy.
See, he seems quite. I wish there had been something like that around when I was a child, but yeah, street gangs mostly.
That sounds less than enjoyable.
That was fun at times. Not fun at other times.
He'll awkwardly pat her on the back. I'm assuming his hand's like as big as her back.
Probably close to. So it's like a good firm massage.
Oh, I think I had a crick there from all the sleeping on the road. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Didn't stumble across a stream, but you found yourself a crick. All right, second watch.
Worse than any joke I've made tonight.
Second watch. Go ahead and roll.
Is it disadvantage, right? Because we're inside? Or because it's sunny outside?
It is sunny outside, but yeah, so I'd say it's a disadvantage.
Well, I rolled a 12 and 13, so, not bad. So 18 for me.
Okay.
And 24.
Okay. With your see invisibility, you just see the cup lift, but you see the little girl take her tea and bow and walk on her way. But otherwise, your watch is undisturbed. You notice Tennille is still wearing his helm, like he hasn't taken it off to rest down for the night or anything like that. But otherwise, you're looking at the ice and stuff like that from a more maybe academic viewpoint rather than an esoteric one. Thinking about the chemical and physical composition of the crystalline nature, the patterns that their molecular form might have shown or made. But the scale at which this has happened also impresses itself upon you.
Okay.
Third watch. Go ahead and roll just for a perception check. We'll just have you roll a straight roll. 17. You don't notice anything too particular except that the cackler seems a little bit forlorn as he's looking at some of the ice. And just kind of keeping to himself a little bit. But otherwise, watch passes without event. Everyone's going to get long rest benefits, all that kind of stuff. You wanted to work on your pistol as well, so let's get an intelligence roll for that. 7? You're a little freaked out by all this ghost talk, and apparently Tennille sees ghosts everywhere. So, you've heard a lot of stories on your time on the seas. Ghost stories of sorts. Ones that can kill with a shriek. Ones that will, take you off to a a grave and bury you alive, all sorts of things, and it's keeping you a little bit off your game as far as inspection and stuff goes on that.
I have
So
a
you just,
little dagger.
yeah, and it's a little bit like you've got the gun and it's as you're looking around during your watch. To Neil, you yet again dream in your resplendent armor and putting on your warhelm. You see a supplicating individual kneeling before, hands bound behind their back. You rip off what looks like a mask of an impassive, like leering demon face, and tear it away. And the individual, this like smoke and shadow fade around this individual, and they shape from a standard height, like 7 foot tall, burly individual down to a halfling. You just hear them say, "Please, please," and without a word, you just and take the head, and you sort of wake with a start.
Oh god, guys, I think my home's cursed. Out of character, Felicia says. No, out of character.
So,
Yeah.
with that, we'll start next session on this next turning's worth of travel, and pick up there from when we left off. We got sidetracked a little bit with a few little things, but I'm glad you guys got to enjoy some of the sights and different experiences, and we will find out what's going on more with Tennille's Helm, maybe some local history, and further events on the road to Landerhall, particularly this mysterious disease and other troops marching through the area. We'll see what has in store for the party. So for now, we'll call it a night. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Again, this has been Dragon Poet Society. My name is Nicholas. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all that kind of stuff, at Dragon Poet Society, posting various things. I usually try and get the YouTube videos up right around by Wednesday, sometimes a little later. But yeah, share them, tell your friends, tell your enemies, whatever, and we'll find you guys next week. So have a good night, everyone.
Bye!